running on instinct. Was this creature always inside of me? The pain of the change. What have I become? A creature of the night, ruled by moonlight. The pain of the change. His body's no longer mine. Feel wild and free, but caged at the same time. It's hard to be human, think human, feel human. A hunger's arising inside of me. The beast is alive and breaking free. It's hard to be human, think human, feel human. Keep putting more chains on the beast. Hope it don't break loose. You better hope so too. Whoa, you better hope so too. Whoa, you better hope so too.
Okay, folks, we're starting it. We usually don't we don't jump on the stream until there's, more people going, whatever. But I got things I got to do. I got things we got to talk about, and I got work to do tonight. Please continue to pray for my business partner who's now got pneumonia, and he is just fighting, to get well. And I really care about the guy, and I want him to be healthy. 17 years working together. It's a long time. So I can't imagine life without him. It's just so used to him being there, But I had a really good conversation with his daughter today. His daughter's she's got her head on straight. She's good, and so pray for him, pray for his family. They're going through a lot with him almost dying. And we almost lost him. So, it's rough. It's rough. And also, folks, we're trying to move into a house that needs a lot of repairs, but I don't have a choice. I have to do this. I have to go from where I'm at. I don't have a choice. I got to get out of there so we can try to get our lives back on track and have some semblance of normalcy. And I don't know that I'll be able to do the show if I don't get out of that situation, because I'm going to have to put the show on hold to deal with all the situations I got to deal with, not the least of which is the job situation, because me and Anthony cannot continue to work doubles and do the show.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
It's exhausting, and we're going to have to pick the one that is actually paying us, so... Not that the show doesn't pay us, but the money just seems to go right back into the show, which, well, it doesn't seem to, it does. But that's what we have to do, though, to build it, to get it going. And so, trying to get the bill on this hat to look better. What do you guys? I just can't. I don't like that straight bill crap.
Straight bill is like, I don't know, it's weird.
Goofy, dude. It's like a trend that started, and then some of these ball players started doing it. And when I was young, I never did that with my hats. So every now and then I'll keep a hat that looks kind of good that way. I'll just be like, you know what? I won't bend it as much. But and then when we leave here, we actually have to clean our house because we got to put it on the we got to get it listed, whatever, so we can get the heck out. So if you want to buy a haunted house, let me know.
And then we got to do patrol afterwards.
And then we got to do the patrol. We got somebody that can do it until we can get ready. But it's a lot going on. A lot going on. I don't know how I'm doing it. I don't know how I'm still upright.
By the grace of God, I mean, nothing else.
Blood pressure through the roof today. It was through the roof. I mean, it was bad. And because one of my medications makes me sleepy, I can't even take it right now because I waited too long. I had to get up and do the show. And you're going like, what does this matter? I'm here for stories. Because I can't retell people's encounters if I'm dead. So please say some prayers. You know, or if somebody wants to just loan me $1 million, then we're good. That would be excellent. And I will pay you back $500 a month till I'm dead.
Yeah.
How much would that be? $500 a month?
You
How
got
many
$1 million
years would
bucks
that
just
take?
laying around.
Yeah, if $500 a month is what, $6,000 a year. Mm-hmm. So if I did it at the rate, so 10 years, you would have 60,000, right? And then the rest would be IOUs. So that
Could pay you back in favors.
what we talked about the other day, flan.
We'll give you shout outs on the show. Those are priceless.
No, flan, because we
yeah.
were at the One Taco, and the lady gave me a free flan, and I said, you know what? I need to use that as a superpower. And Anthony goes, imagine if that was your superpower.
Yeah, like you had a Jedi mind trick, but you could only use it to get free flan out of people. That's the only thing you could convince them to do, which is give you flan, and then you'd have to double down on that and commit to it, because it's like, you know, like when you buy something and you're really excited about it, but then it turns out to be a piece of crap. But you already spent the money on it and you can't get it back. So you make up these reasons why, oh, this is actually a good deal. I didn't get ripped off. This is great. So like you'd have to double down on that flan superpower and just use it to con people out of like loads and loads and loads of flan and justify it like, oh, I'm feeding my family with this flan.
You're at Thanksgiving dinner, and your sister makes you mad, and you're like, you know what? Catherine, Clarice, whatever your name is in this skit, you're cut off.
No more flan for you.
No more flan for you. And she's going to be like, oh, whoopee-doo. We have other desserts that are delicious and more better for, whatever. Oh, really? Now you're going to insult my flan? You didn't say that when I babysitted your kids over the summer and they ate flan every day. Yeah, I know. They came back and they complained. Oh, just like you, Clarice. Just like you. Okay? You know what? You're cut off. You get up, you go around the table, pick up everybody's flan.
Yeah.
No, sorry, Grandpa. He's like, what? No. You can thank your granddaughter holding the spoon in your hand. Thank your granddaughter for that. Huh? Thank her. Look at it over there. She's like, I can't believe you're doing this on Thanksgiving. I can't believe you're doing this on Thanksgiving. You're going to insult my superpower? You know how many Mexican restaurants I had to go to get your flan for Thanksgiving? And then you're going to crack on me like, oh, that's all you can do is get flan. Well, you know what? I'm happy to get flan.
You know how... Do you have any idea how many little Guatemalan kids I can make happy with this flan? But I'm making this family happy, and the little Guatemalan kids don't have anything. They're dirt poor, and here you are stuffing your fat face with my flan and depriving those poor Guatemalan and Honduran and Mexican kids of free food, and you don't appreciate it.
And you know what you can do with that flan?
Fine. No more flan for you.
That's it. They're done. They're cut off. And you know what you could do with that flan? You could actually pay those kids in flan to go and steal all their shoes.
Yeah.
You could have no shoes, Clarice. None. No shoes.
I'll have an unstoppable army of Spanish-speaking hungry kids. They'll do whatever I say.
And just keep giving them the flan, and they'll just keep coming into your house and taking your shoes and taking whatever. Knickknacks. If you have Hummels, they're gone. That's it. They're done. You're done. No more. All because you want to diss the flan. Way to go.
You're like surrounded by like little kids jumping. Flan, flan, flan. Dame flan, dame la flan. And you're like Immortan Joe. Like, do not become addicted to flan. It will take hold of your mind, and you will resent its absence.
And you will not be shiny and chrome.
Yeah. You will not enter Valhalla shiny and chrome.
Have the big horse teeth mask.
Yeah.
What was that on? That was Fury Road.
Fury Road, yeah.
Mad Max. Yeah, that was an amazing movie. I like Tom Hardy.
Yeah,
He's a great actor. But yeah, that would be it, dude. I mean, you'd have to. You could make it work. You can make it work. I don't know if flan would be a. I mean, it's not cocaine, but you could get it done. One thing is, it goes bad. I mean, you just have to have lots and lots of like refrigerators.
Yeah, you could sell it like the little paletero on the with the bicycle.
Yeah.
I mean, because you get it for free. You just Jedi mind trick people out of it, and you just put it in the little fridge and attach a bicycle to it, and ring a little bell, and just go down the street. Flan, 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 tengo flan. Andale, chiquitos, tengo flan.
Tango flan, and then your name is Juan.
Yeah.
Juan's flan.
Juan's flan.
Tango flan with Juan. It's one in a million. So yeah, and then that would be it's a business model. I'm going to look into that. I got a lot of other ideas that might be more lucrative, but no, I think we're going to go with this one. I'm going to figure out the Jedi mind trick. In fact, we'll get that forbidden book from the Levant, and we will just use it to learn how to do that. We won't wake the dead or do any other things that you can do with that book. We're just going to do that. That's it. No pet cemetery stuff. Well, maybe once in a while. But I thought about the pet cemetery thing too. If we did that, we don't need to make them come back and try to be our friend. You just wake them up and take them and drop them off in the front yard of people you don't like.
Yeah.
Right? Pet cemetery is here. Knock on the door. They open the door and they're like, "What the hell? Who are you? What do you want?" And they're like, "Ah!" And then they just go after them. And like a person we thought was deceased.
Dude, the worst animal to bring
someone.
back would be a ferret.
Oh man, can you imagine?
Like if I brought Snowy back.
The damage. Whew, Snowy was something else.
She was insane.
Yeah, she was crazy.
This ferret gave herself an ear infection because she flung herself off of my bed and like other high places so much that I had to take her to the vet because when they do that, their heads get like knocked around and their equilibrium's all weird, and they start kind of like crawling weird, and it causes an ear. I guess the ear infection is a side effect of that. So I had to take her to the doctor because she was just like had no regard for her health. She just attacked everything. Like
she bit my foot. Like I remember I was on the computer.
Well, when Martis was a kitten, remember, like
she tried to drag him under the bed.
She did. She bit him on the back of the head and was dragging him under the bed, and you just hear him.
We had to rescue Martis from her. Yeah, but Story was just the opposite.
Yeah, she's
so sweet and calm. She's just like, "What are you doing? Why are you that way?" She would curl up with me and just kind of chill. And she'd move around, but she wasn't like she was not. We need to bring Story back and let everybody see her again.
Yeah.
Yeah. She needed a little football helmet to wear. She did. Ultimately, that's what cost her life because when we were at the first conference, the cage was not closed correctly, and so she pushed it until she could, and then she got stuck and asphyxiated, and it was horrible. It was awful.
Yeah, poor girl.
Yeah, and then we lost Stogie because he ate something he wasn't supposed to. They like to they're like crazy little goats, man. You got to watch them. If you let them out, they just look for death.
Yeah.
They look for death. They have little forks and they run to the light socket.
They're like toddlers.
You got to stop them, But yeah, it was horrible. So, folks, what we got going on tonight, switching directions here from the flan and the ferrets and the ferret flan. We're going to talk about some crazy encounters. And, of course, one of them, Nellie, I wasn't going to talk about that one tonight. I wasn't going to do it. But there's a couple of them that need to be talked about. And I don't know how we're going to broach this subject. I was thinking we're going to have to do it on a Rumble thing because it is kind of rough. Can I get a drink? Are you going to get one?
Yeah, let me get one too.
I see you getting up there. So there's something that goes on in this, I don't want to say community, but it happens to people. Not a lot that I've heard, but yeah, at this point, I was kind of talking to Scorpio and Tony earlier, and they were telling me maybe we should talk about it because they've gotten stories from it, and so have I. And I want to say this guy's a friend. I met him in the community when I first started doing the other show that I was on. And, that one too. Oh, no, I got it. I want to use mine. You can tab that one. I'll do this one. I like using this. My cousin Clayton gave me this for Christmas, and it's just a year before last. And so I like to use it. It's pretty cool. He made it out of a deer horn, a deer antler. It's pretty neat. Little Christmas gift there. But so what ended up happening is I don't know how to broach this subject. It's so weird. How do we start this? Well, okay, so Bigfoot doesn't just scare people, okay? I don't care what anybody says. It's not this lovable goof that people want to make it out to be. I've even had some of my dear friends who are researchers, boots on the ground, as they say. And they're like, oh, they're just like giant squirrels. I don't believe that. I don't believe that because I can't believe that. It's just like people saying they don't believe in Dogman. I said, well, I don't have a choice. I was not given a choice in that. I was like, this is me. Here I am. I'm not supposed to exist, and I do. So we got to get to about 300 before I start talking about this. But, okay, how do I say this? If you were a person out in the area where these things show up, not only could they kill and eat you, but they could do other things. You see where I'm going with this? Like, there's other bad things that they do to people. And it has been the butt of jokes in this community as long as I can remember. A woman will say, yeah, Bigfoot did this and that to me. And everybody's like, ha, 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 that's crazy. And even the physical Bigfoot creature people, they know, they believe that it exists. They'll say things like, oh, that's impossible. Bigfoot would never do that. Bigfoot doesn't do that. And you're like, yes, they do. Now, the first case we came across this was back when Armando was on the show, and it was the first year we was on the show. I know you remember this, Anthony, and Armando and Tony had both engaged with someone, and she said that she had something happen to her from a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I was on the phone with a woman earlier today, and she actually told me that she had heard it in another group that something had happened to a guy. Well, that particular person that I went back and I looked, that's not the guy that I interviewed. That's a different guy. So it happens to men and women. And it is really hard to talk about for me. It was hard to listen to. And I've had to listen to it probably well over half a dozen times. There's these two women, Mara and Janine, who we've talked about before. I don't know what names I used on there, but that's their first names. But they were in a cult. And it was back in the late 70s. And there were two guys they were together, the two guys. But one of them was breeding with the women. Mm-hmm. And then he just stopped and said that he was going to allow the women and he was cuckoo. He was a cuckoo, weird guy. And he was going to allow the women to be taken by the forest giant people, whatever you want to call them. And they would take them. Now, this was up in Washington near the Canadian border. And it was like 1977 or something like that. And she was in that cult until 1980. Or 81, something like that. Her aunt was taken, and these people, they lived in like a commune. And we'll just start with this one, I guess. I mean, it really hard to talk about. Oh, man. But after today, I was like, maybe we should talk about this. Maybe this is something that needs to be said, because there are people who think it's a joke, and I saw people making a joke out of it online. And I thought, this is not correct. I don't want people doing this. So trying to psych myself up for this here. Imagine if you were a child, right? And this girl was 11 years old. And you had to witness them taking your mother and your aunt out into the woods to await. And the one woman, the younger one, she cried on the phone to me. The other one did not. She seemed a little more, stronger. She had to endure it, watching it happen. She was 13. Her sister was 11. And they had a little baby brother who he's since passed away. He died in a car accident, but it's, the whole point was that they were taken into the woods and left for these forest giants. Now, what I was told by them, this was the second group of people. The first one was the one that Armando and Tony interviewed, and I talked to her. And her incident happened in, now, Anthony, you know, that is Arkansas, right? It was Arkansas. And she had this happen to her. And her husband left her and accused her of cheating on him with another guy. And she's like, no, that is not what happened. She was on her back porch sweeping. They lived on the edge of the Ozarks. And two of these creatures came and grabbed her, taking her into the woods. And she had to endure that. Now it's buffering. Would you? Great. It's really hard to talk about, folks. And somebody said maybe this should be on Rumble. Yeah, maybe we'll do that next. I don't know. Maybe we should. Maybe we should talk about it on Rumble. But I feel like I'm just putting it off because I've been putting this off for a long time. The guy that gave me his story was well over a year ago. I've known about this for about 5 years, I would say. And I don't know. I don't know. Okay. After today, though, and I saw the thing going on online, and then I was shown a link by two different people of another argument. These people were saying things to this guy, and I kind of stepped in and was like, leave him alone. The thread got taken down, of course, because it got all, you know. Amy Krill says Tex had a front porch, had a whole episode. Yeah, I haven't talked about it, and me and Tex have talked about this, and I've also talked about it with Barton, and I've talked about it with Jerry Williams. And there's a couple other researchers, too, that we've discussed this. One of them I don't really talk to anymore, but he talked about it. There's been multiple people who've said this is happening, and it has happened. What we're talking about, and I'm going to use the initials SA. Mm-hmm. Do the math, okay? There's physical assault, and then there's another type of assault that the law recognizes. And I don't mean spiritual assault. And yeah, I agree with that. When women do not go after Bigfoot, not that I don't, unless they're just obsessed. There's some people I wouldn't doubt. I've seen some people at these conferences, and they probably would. I'm not even joking. So, you know, I'm reluctant. Let me take a drink of this here. I'm going to take over for just a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I'm back. Let's do this. Okay, so I did not going to bed this morning, which was really late. I got in really late from work. And I did not plan on doing this, but when I saw people being laughed at, made fun of, things like that, and I just started thinking about it, and I said, you know what, this is not correct, because, and Nellie can vouch for it, she posted, she's like, she just heard the most horrific story, and I told her, I said, this is something, she asked me, how much do you know about this? And I told her quite a bit. One of the reasons why I don't subscribe to the friendly forest giant theory, and I don't give a shit what anybody says, I'm not going to okay with that. Because I know what they do. And we've known, Anthony, for what, 5 years?
Yeah. I mean, at a certain point, you just have to come out and say it. It's common sense. These things are not upwards of what, 7, 8, 9, 10 feet tall and thousands of pounds. so they can be your friend. You know, they don't have the strength to pull a human apart limb from limb, like a Stretch Armstrong, so that they can be, you know, friendly with you. They're not here to interact with you. They don't. I just don't get it, because the same people who subscribe to this friendly forest giant theory, if they came across a grizzly bear, they would immediately recognize that because of its size, ferocity, and strength as a predator. It's a grizzly bear. Get away from it. Oh, Bigfoot. Oh, it's cool. Hey, we're cool. No, we're not cool. You're gonna die. Probably.
When people see them and they get away, it's not necessarily them being kind. You know, a lot of people go missing. You know, and I don't subscribe to the theory that it's all Bigfoot, but I subscribe to the theory that it's Bigfoot, Dogman, reptilians. I mean, let's be honest, because I know what I know. And we've talked to a couple of park rangers because we do our due diligence. And one of them in particular, not Walter. Walter's the guy from Walmart that had the weird encounter. What's that guy's name? William. He told us some shocking things, and then my friend John, who was in connection with David Paulides. Now, Paulides recently joined our group, and so if I remember correctly, and I saw his name and I approved it, but I don't talk to David Weatherly. I haven't anyway. I've never even tried.
Did you mean Paulides or Weatherly?
No, Paulides. Weatherly's been in the group for a long time.
Because you mistakenly said Weatherly.
Oh, David Paulides. Yeah. I've talked to David Weatherly regularly. I don't talk to David Paulides. I've never needed to. But I've read 3 of the books, you know, and I get it, you know, but I don't agree with everything. Of course, I don't agree with everything that any of my friends say either.
Yeah.
And David Weatherly, at this point in time, we're not friends. He's had some things happen between people that I'm friends with, and so I just don't want to get in the middle. I don't want to be. I got enough issues.
Paulides?
Yeah.
You said Weatherly again.
Okay. David.
I just don't want people to think.
I thought I was saying David Paulides. I don't know why I'm saying.
No, I just don't want people getting the wrong idea.
Okay, because typically when I talk about David Weatherly, I just say David, you know, because everybody knows that's the David I deal with. I mean, I know Dave Spinks too.
Yeah,
but I don't have a problem with him. But we've been friends for years. But I don't talk to him that often. I have to say that at least partially what Paulides talks about, I'll just call him Paulides, is somewhat accurate to a degree. I'd be interested to know what his take is on the essays that have happened. And I know what happens with PRT. We are a hub of information that no matter what, we will be attacked. Mm-hmm. I can say anything. I could say the screen behind me is blue, purple, whatever, and they will start an assault on me that comes from the depths of hell. Because I do believe some of these people that have been after us, that's where they're from. They're from that other side. They don't even know why they do it. It happens. If you've noticed, a lot of times we're not doing anything to these people. Mm-hmm. And they just come out and blast us. Because and I will say this, and I'm tooting my own horn here, tooting Anthony's, whoever's horn from PRT, we are in the forefront of a lot of stuff. Why? It's very simple. It's not a complex subject. It's just simple. People feel comfortable giving us their stories. People feel comfortable with me retelling them. And I want to say this. I found another ringer today. I know who you are, and I know that you're sending me things, silly little stories. Your grammar is so horrible. I'm always, I know that I love to troll you because you're a jerk, and you're sending me stories with your bad grammar. Find someone else to write it for you. Because that's a phony baloney story. I saw it a mile away. Because he sent me a message in a fake account saying, you're using, this is what he said. He goes, you're using people's emails and you're adding to it and messing with it, taking it away. And I said, prove it. You're a liar because you yourself have tried to send me fake stories. And it's always written in the same prose. So I know it's you. I mean, I'm not even going to say your name. I'll do you a favor and not say your name. But next time I will. I'm just going to come right out and say your name. And I'll definitely say it on Rumble. So that's what you're doing, you know. It's real cute. Keep trying. You're not going to trick me. You're not going to flip me, with your fakeness. I know what's fake. Okay, I can see it. The people that are out there wanting to be heard the loudest are typically somebody who's not really. Remember that. If you're an aspiring podcaster and your thing is to retell encounters, it's kind of tricky because you have to navigate. Now, you got to put that disclaimer out there. I can't say that these stories are true. You got to be honest with it.
Yeah.
You're retelling people's encounters, but you don't know because you weren't there. But when a person comes on your show and people are like, well, the firsthand accounts are, yeah, they can tell the story. Sometimes it's not very good, but it's them telling it. But there again, you don't know if that person's being honest. And if they're just through the computer on the screen or they're talking through the phone, you don't know I'm not across from them looking them in the eye. I'd love to have a show where I could have a guest come into a studio and I could just sit there with them on TV and interview them.
Yeah. And
I could look at them and I would even probably be bold enough to say, I don't believe your bullshit. But that's where we're at. I mean, we have to look at like the whole. And so when somebody gets on the phone with you, these people were from England and they went to Canada on vacation with their parents and they wandered off. And get this, they were picking berries. I say picking berries in the woods is probably just a bad idea all the way around because it never ends well. It always starts off with la, 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 la. And then the next thing you know, something's happening. So just don't pick berries. Maybe that's it. Because one guy was picking dewberries. The next thing you know, he's hating me.
Oh, yeah.
Just like picking berries. Josh Turner! It's just like, I hate that guy. I don't know. I'm assuming that's a reenactment that may not be completely historically accurate, but
that lady didn't even know what the heck he was talking about. He just went on and on and on. She was talking about picking blackberries, and he's like, "Oh, Josh Turner." Blah, blah, blah. She probably read that like, "What in the world?"
I don't go to like the store and talk to my like Phil, Balcar, who he may be even watching the show. He definitely watches the replay.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Phil. He does all the phone work for our company. Hey, Phil, let me tell you about this guy. He likes to talk crap. I can't believe this guy. He says some of the most outlandish things you could ever imagine, and it freaks me out so bad. And every time somebody tells me something about this guy, you know what? I'm just like, oh no. Why? Why do you do the things you do? I'm so scared right now. But what do we do?
Got the little booger pickers.
Yeah, but they don't have the individual fingers. I was hoping for that. Picking the ear, picking the booger. But no, we don't do that. Look, so here's the thing. I'm trying to bring some levity here to this thing before I get, Exactly, JoJo. That was the whole point. It was just to creep you out. Huh.
Be messed up. You just see those things move on their own one day.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
Or like you show up and the fingers are like in like different articulated positions.
Look at his eyes, like a dart. Here, I got it.
Lifeless eyes. Look at doll's eyes.
I'm just trying to obfuscate because I don't want to talk about this subject. Okay, so 2 different things happening here. We had a story that was given to us. Thank you for that donation. Wow, that's the first one. Is that the first one? No, there was another one. Thank you. Much love to PRT. Been super busy with work. I know you've been killing it, Curtis Turner. Not relation, but, brother from another mother.
Yeah.
The best show online, in my opinion, even with Tony there. I don't know. Tony there, that is a no.
So was he giving Tony crap?
With good reason.
Curtis is an OG. He's been with us a long time.
Just kidding. Don't be kidding. Be honest. Don't be sorry. What did he say? What does Cat Williams say? Don't be sorry. Don't be honest. Or what did he say?
I don't
Was that
remember.
silly show Friday? So we had 2 different stories. We were given, the first one was given to Armando. He came up with it and he said, look, we should interview this lady. It happened to her outside of Brenham. And I said, okay. And so we actually made the trip out there. That was back when I was on that other show. And I was thinking it was possibly a Dogman, but she described it to a T. It was a Bigfoot. Now, she did turn us on to some neighbors down the road who had a Dogman story. So what ended up happening, I don't know which one we should start with. I'll go back to the one in the commune. We have talked about this one on the show some, but it was rough because these girls had to endure these women being, and the 2 guys that were in charge, they were a couple, and they were not into women. So it didn't matter,
No.
But one of them was doing it to breed with the women or something like that, and then he was giving them away to the forest people. And they were way down deep in the woods, and he was allowed safe passage through the woods by these giant Bigfoot things. And apparently, this is what they told us. Okay, this is what they told us as a team. And we had them on speakerphone, and we were all sitting there around the table listening to what they were saying, and what they were saying to us was shocking. This was only the second time I'd ever heard anything like this, straight from somebody's mouth, other than reading it. And what they had to say was incredible, that they were in a commune, and these beings were taking women. They were being given women. Right? And they lived way out in the middle of nowhere, and those beings had an ability. They were able to keep them hidden from people. So they had a good thing going for a while, for a few years, several years. And there were about, I think she said, anywhere from 70 to 80 people at this compound, and every now and then they would bring a new person, and it was mostly women. And there were some younger guys, and she says, I remember them being like young, well-built and shaped guys, because the 2 guys that were in charge of it were into guys. So they left the women alone for the most part, unless it was time to have a kid or something. But they would put the women into the woods to be taken. And so it was happening like once every couple of months. They would have to give some of the, and so 1 or 2 of them came back. And what they described was horrific. And this is the part that's really disturbing, that they were being essayed. And a couple, and then they would disappear. One of them said that they would eat you. Basically, after they did what they did, they would eat you. They weren't having hybrid children, as far as these girls know, what they were told. How they got away was her mother, who lost her sister to this cult, was able to get a ride into town. And it was a small town up in Washington. And from there, it was near the Canadian border from where that town was or whatever. So they just went right across because the people in the town, according to her, and I don't want to say the name of it because they were involved in covering it up. Because these cult leaders had money that they would pay these people. So they just walked to the border. And they walked like, I don't know how many miles, but they walked to the border. Terrified. Can you imagine that walk going through those woods?
Yeah.
And then they get there and they talk to the Canadian Mounted Police, the CMP, and they talked to them at the border and they told them what happened. So the CMP got in touch with the feds and they went in and cleared it out, but they had already broke camp and left. And their aunt was lost. They don't know what happened to her. She thinks that she became a victim of these beings. And to say that they had a disdain and disgust for the Bigfoot creatures is putting it mildly. It went beyond that. She was like, I hate them with everything. They were literally like terrorists to them. Now, people will say, this is crazy, this is, whatever, but I can assure you, there are several people in my group that heard these people say this. And then there was the story that Armando had gotten us with a woman in outside of Brenham who no longer lives in Texas. The third account, I think it was the third one, was the woman in Arkansas. And then the fourth account, if I remember, I went through it today and tried to piece it together. The fourth one was the woman, or the guy and girl from England who went on vacation in Canada. And the girl was unharmed. She got away because her brother basically helped her escape, but he got grabbed. And he was SA'd.
Oh.
Yeah. And then, of course, I told you the story recently that we had gone over from the emails.
It's just a new level of helplessness. Because who do you report that to? You can't.
I don't know.
I mean, you have no recourse. There's no justice for that.
So this is not a pleasant. It's
like hills.
And I'm going to be attacked for this,
Yeah.
that. Everybody's going to come after me. Probably the bearded lady and everybody else.
It's
will
like
be all of that.
this is like hills have eyes squared.
Yeah. It's not even something. I've been putting this off for a long time, and you know that, Anthony.
Yeah.
We've not wanted to talk, but after today, I thought, well, maybe we should say something because the story we got and the one that Nellie was talking about was absolutely horrific. No, there's just a guy that this happened outside of Atlanta about 10 years ago. It was 2014. Yeah, it's just 2024. I'm over here. I keep thinking it's 2023 still. I'm still like in the past. Back to the future and the past, present. So Moon at Noon, good night. I hope you're not leaving because of the subject matter, and I apologize. I mean, I just feel like it's time to say something. I've been sitting on some of this stuff for years and just been kind of dodging it, I guess. That's all I can. I'm just dodging it. I've been dodging it. God damn. Oh boy. But it is time to say something, and it is, I look at this situation and I think of like how many people this has happened to and how oftentimes, oh my gosh, how oftentimes when somebody is talking about something, they have thrown this out there, but it happened to someone that they know. And I've been offered multiple times to talk to these people. So there's people that live in the woods or in the edge of the woods. Another one was from West Virginia, which is very rural. And it was a Dogman type creature that did this. And there was another one up in upstate New York, which I think was some sort of like gugwe. And I didn't talk to that individual. I just read the email. But when you talk to the people and they break down crying, in one lady, it was horrible because she was already told by 2 different prominent podcasters, Bigfoot podcasters, that she was crazy. And they basically just told her to F off. And no, I'm not going to. I know who this is, too. He's such a little. I'm not putting that on my show. Of course you're not. Because you want it to be a certain agenda. You want to fulfill that agenda and keep that niche of your audience. For me, personally, I don't care about the agenda. I don't care about the whatever. And I'm going to take the heat and the ridicule because this is just what's going to happen. And they're going to sit up there and lampoon and say a bunch of crap. But I'm not a coward, and I'm not going to run from it. And it just felt like it was time to say something. And I'm sure the Bigfoot, this is something, to me, it's kind of like, like the stuff that happened with the priest and all that, it's like everybody kind of knows what's going on, but nobody wants to talk about it type thing. And to me, it's a dirty secret thing, that happens in the cryptid community. And I'm going to tell you this, 90% of these researchers have heard this. They have heard this. Then they do not talk about it. They don't talk about it because they don't want to lose their audience of the happy forest tree people audience who will go and buy their books and their merchandise and whatever and will buy or watch their shows. And they don't want to lose the people who are going to say, yeah, you're crazy, the hillbillies that go and then proliferate and go into these, whatever, these shows, these conferences. And I'm not bashing on country people. I'm from the sticks. My family are hillbillies. But I've been cultured and gone into the world. Some of these people are like, I'm wearing the same shirt till I die. I live in this mud hut, and I'm going to stay here, and I'm going to marry my sister. I'm going to do what I'm going to do and go to Bigfoot conference. And my enemies will use that against me. Go watch Rumble last night. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can use against me. They already started. They were like, oh, my God, look what he said. Holy smokes, let's go after this some bitch. You're a daisy if you do. Don't care. Do what you got to do. It is what it is. I will be attacked on a bus. I will be attacked on a plane. I will be attacked at home. I will be attacked on a train. It doesn't matter. Getting attacked is just part of it now at this point. I'm just like, if I'm not getting attacked every day, I'm like, what's going on? Why did I not get hate today? Something happened? It's more important than attacking me? What am I drinking? It's called 1877. It's from HEB. It's really good. I'm drinking the mango. That's my favorite Binky Stalls. So what ends up happening is this story that we got. That's what happened to those ladies up in Canada. I don't want to get into all the details because it's too much. It's too much. And so I just can't.
Leaving it to the imagination is enough.
I just can't.
Details aren't important, honestly.
Yes, please hit the like button and put the PayPal link up there. If you want to donate and you don't want to have to split it with me and YouTube, you can always do the PayPal. Put the PayPal link. The PayPal link. Yeah. I said that again because you were just like, he's tired. He had to work all day. And we worked last night. I look at my eyes. I am exhausted. There you go. They're not expected, but they're appreciated. That's right. And we don't depend on a paywall. We don't put things behind a paywall because we can usually do good enough to not have to do that. And I know times are tough, so I'm not expecting anybody, whatever. But if you can help. If you can't. That's it, period. I don't ask for donations. I don't beg. People are like, oh, he's always begging. What the F is this? We're not. We would just simply put it behind a paywall and put a bunch of commercials on here. We could put more ads on here if we wanted to. So Yeah, I know Hellbent Holler's been taking a beating lately. They've been getting attacked. Joe and Jesse. They're attacking everybody. They don't attack certain people because those people allow them to be in their chat and run around and do whatever. So they leave them alone. But, you know, and that's their prerogative to allow them. Some people have been asking me about that, messaging me about that, and I'm not going to say anything because that's their right to have that. Their chat, they can do what they want, and those people can be in their chat. And I'm not going to tell them anything. I'm not going to tell them to not do it. If that's what they choose to do, it's on them. Let them do it. I don't care. I am not going to get into it with friends because they allow certain individuals in there to do and say things. I'm never going to go to people, and I have not done that. People think that I have gone out and gone to groups and to channels and told them, hey, don't do this with that guy or that girl. I do not. I have not done that. Ask them. I have not said anything. They chose on their own accord to do that because they saw right and wrong. And they told me, hey, you know, and some people said, oh, well, if they did that, they're just sucking up to you. Well, maybe they did and maybe they didn't. I don't know. But they said, hey, I'm on your side. I'm not going to let these people do this. I said, well, thank you. But I'm not going to tell you not to. And they said, yeah, we know. We're going to do it on our own. So they self-regulate. The ones that don't, it's a free world, man. I can't sit here and worry about it. But please, I've gotten plenty of messages about these individuals, and I still consider them my friends. And I'm not, and, you know, please don't attack them. I'm not asking you to do that. I have not asked anybody to do that or take pressure or take sides when it comes to that. Podcasters, YouTubers, whatever, they're free to do whatever they want. I'm not even going to say anything. It's just so you know, I'm saying this right now. Please stop with the messaging about it because I know already. I get it. And what else was it? Oh, and the people who have donated, they sent me a check. There were 2 of you. And I want to thank you, but I can't remember which was which. So if you could reach out to me and so I could formally thank you, I would really appreciate that if you could reach out to me. Please. Thank you. I haven't forgotten. Your kindness has not been forgotten, nor will it ever be forgotten. And I hope that you hear me. But one of the things that we are talking about here tonight is a very sensitive subject, and it is hard to broach this subject and talk about it, but we're there, you know. Thank you, Sugar, for that. You were amazing, too. Amazing moderator, amazing person.
Sure.
And so I am kind of trying to find the words here, flabbergasted. Mm-hmm. But when I went back, and now, Anthony, me and you've gone over these before. It's not like it's new to you, but when I went back today and was reading some of these, it was reading it all over again, and it was coming back into my mind, and I was going like, holy crap, man. The one from the people from England, what happened to that guy? They wandered off from their camp, and it's not an easy story to tell, so I'm going to just do the best I can to get through it. And then we'll go on to the next one, which is easier for me. Mm-hmm. The next story will be a lot easier to tell. This one is hard. He was essayed by, well, 2 of them were, they do it in pairs typically, but this was one that did it. And they tried to grab his sister, and he kind of got in the way because they were out hiking, and then they found some wild berries, and they were trying to pick them, and they were going to like, hey, let's take them back to, it says England has a Bigfoot. Yeah, actually they do. But this was not in England. This was in Canada. They were English, and they were vacationing in Canada. Betsy, how you doing, by the way? Hope you're good. But so what ended up happening is that they were chased and ultimately caught by 2 large Bigfoot creatures. One was extremely large and powerful, and the other one was sort of skinny and rangy. And the essay was done by the big, larger one, while the other one just kind of was there. I don't know. And I wonder, you know, like when you get these stories, now we go to the one where the lady lived out in the country here in Texas, and then she moved. there were things that were happening. Her husband had died 2 years before, and so her ranch was falling into disrepair. And, it got to where she needed help. And she did have a vision. There was a ghost in her house, and it was there since before her husband had died. And she believed that it was one of the previous owners of the house that had died back in like the 1980s. They took over the ranch in 87, or I think she said it was 86 or 87. I can't remember which. But she said that they had, and then her husband died in 2010 or 11, something like that. So a year later, she had this guy that was kind of staying on the property. And then he comes in real frantic and said there was an outhouse, like an outbuilding, that he stayed at. And he came up to the house, main house, and said that this large, hairy-like creature had tried to break into his domicile. And she was like, okay. They tried to reinforce it. He did it again. And he shot at it with a .308. And believes he hit it. And it backed off. But then one day she was having issues with her horses. And she was having to pay people to come, and one guy, he was from Mexico. And she said Jorge was a very, very nice guy, very, very helpful, just loyal, wanted to help. And he was finding the horse's hair, get this, braided. No. And he thought she did it. And she was like, no, I didn't do that. And then this creature, she caught it trying to molest a couple of different animals. And she shot at it. So one night when she had closed up the barn, was leaving the stable, this thing grabbed her and did something to her. She ended up having to go to the hospital. And it was filed under like a sexual assault or whatever, but they didn't follow up or do anything because of what she told them it was. They laughed at her. The police laughed at her. They were like, whatever. It was a county, but I'm not going to say which county it was, but she did. That's the one that Armando and Tony had gotten together, which then I listened to this woman talk, and Armando, and you remember the conversation probably, and he was like, what do we do? I said, we can't tell that. We're a new show. We're going to be like, hey, folks, we're talking about Bigfoot.
Come out the gate with that.
SA. We've only been around for a few months, but now we're going to throw you a curveball on a podcast where we can't really give you a lot more information than we have an hour to talk about it. We couldn't do, at that time, we could only do 4 hours a month, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was, so what the hell, what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to say? And then you get laughed at after it happens to you. And then, so you have this couple from England and the sister, and I'm not going to lie, I was having a hard time understanding some of it because their accent was pretty thick, They speak English, but it's very, like, how they talk. Mm-hmm. They talk, and I can't, I don't want to sit here and do an accent like I'm making fun or something. It's not the case. But they were trying to explain to me what had happened to them. And he began to cry, and then she began to cry. And these people are older now. They're a little younger than me. Yeah, JoJo, yeah, it did. It made me feel sick. We could take a vote right now if y'all want to just. How many people want me to continue, or would y'all like to we can just totally change courses? I mean, I can do that. If you'd like me to continue, just say yes. And we can see how many people have an opinion on this. This is hard. Okay.
I think it's overwhelmingly yes.
And I am an emotional guy. People know that.
Yeah, it's pretty hard. And I don't,
I'm getting made fun of for this too.
at least when it comes to the group of people, that kind of cult activity out there in the woods, I think that because these creatures aren't necessarily like just flesh and blood, there's a they're spiritual beings,
And
and they're
demons rape too.
they're malevolent spirits.
Yeah.
That this is a form of demonic tribute. It's like a form of demonic human sacrifice. I mean, it just comes in a different form, you know. And these demonic spirits, they love indulging pleasures of the flesh, like to extreme degrees,
Yeah.
to sickness.
They do it through people oftentimes.
Yeah.
And these beings are an in-between subnatured being. I don't care what anybody tells you. That's the truth. Why do non-physical beings have physical urges? They're not able to fulfill them in the spirit. Now, I'm going to say something biblical here, or, you know, like that's how do you say it? It's within my faith. When you pass, Jesus tells us that we are not going to want of things of the flesh. You're not going to want, like your wife, your children, your whatever. They're going to be. We're all on equal footing in the eyes of God, and you're not going to be their dad or whatever. It doesn't work like that. You're not going to be a family the way you are now because everything is different. The things that people miss, like certain Christians and Muslims, they believe in heaven is like, oh, I'm going to go to heaven and get gold and a reward and a big house and I can have a palace, you know, and whatever you can think of, you can have. Now that may be a type of heaven, whatever, but it's not going to matter because you're not going to want for those things. The spirit world is a completely different type of animal. You're not dealing with fleshly desires. These beings are just right above us on the vibrational plane. They still have those earthly desires, and they fulfill them through people, or they do it themselves. Now, somebody had made a joke about this, and they said, well, why would a Bigfoot want to do it? Because you're thinking of it as just a flesh and blood being. That would make sense. It was just a flesh and blood being. But let me tell you this, they're not. And I told them, I said, demons rape. Mm-hmm. They do. What is a succubus? What is an incubus? I got a lot of accounts of these things. I could do 2-3 shows on this, and Anthony, you know this, on just the essay that goes on from demons, on women and men. The next story that I'm going to tell you is going to tell you how terrifying it is to be this close to this. This guy's name was Darren, and I applaud his bravery in coming forward and telling me what he saw. And so I had a long talk with Nellie today and a couple of the other guys here. And my wife was like, you need to tell this. It needs to happen. And so I got her opinion, and then another female that's friends of the show. She had made some comments on a thread, and I got in touch with her, and we talked, and she was like, I think it's important. Yeah, we talked to her too. She's an OG of the show. She's been to all the conferences and she was on her way to church and she told me, she's like, I think it's important. And so I got her opinion to go along with what me and my wife are already thinking, because I got your opinion, Anthony, and Tony, my brother, everybody, Scorpion. And everybody was like, we need to talk about this. Of course, I'm the one that has to talk about it. So that's it. I'm the one that's going to have to deal with it. So, this guy ends up, it happens to him. I can't even go into all the details because I don't want to. I just don't. And I told him, I messaged him earlier and said, hey, yeah, Madeline, it is harder for guys. Joanne says to stop. Why do you, I mean, most people are saying that I should get this out there. Tell me why. Okay, so, I mean, I guess I could stop. I don't know.
I mean, I think they're just concerned for you more than themselves.
I'm already screwed anyway. I mean, I've already said what I've said and done what I've done. I mean, you know,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to do whatever they're going to do. My enemies they're determined. I mean, they'll never quit. And I'm not afraid of them. I just know that they will when someone will go to any lengths to hurt you, destroy you, and to tear down what you have, and they don't even know why. You're facing the principalities,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Thank you for that donation. He says, of the weekend cult fee, I accidentally bleached my cult hood robe. If you actually want something, Miguel, if you're a moderator, and now remember, if you join the membership, if you want a membership, I think it's $5 or something like that.
Yeah.
You can be entered into the giveaway that we're going to do tonight. And then after this week, we're going to do the mail off. So that should be coming through. The Patreon should have gotten all their stuff. If you are a Patreon member and you haven't gotten your swag, let us know. Because we love our Patreon members who keep the show going. Patreon.com, PRT, I was going to say PRT slash. Patreon.com/PRT. So we love our Patreon people. So if you want to be a member, join up. It helps that you can get in and be in the giveaway. Thank you for those, Spilling Tea. That was nice of you. You don't have to do that. And, you know, Spilling Tea and all the other moderators, if you want anything, just give me your list and we'll send it to you. You know that if you're a moderator. So I was introduced to Darren from somebody who listens to the show, and he started listening. He says, I really like your show. He says, I have a heck of a story to this was the first talk we had on Messenger. I didn't know him. And then he goes, I'll send you an email. And then he sent it to me, and now my bad, it took a month to get back. I'm sorry. I did. I have a lot going on, man. I do. And Darren is actually a DJ in Atlanta part-time, but he was working security because he's one of those guys. He's a young guy. He's a kid to me. He's 26. But when he was 22 years old, they were building a subdivision a few years ago in Atlanta outside of, and it was apartment complex. And, so what ended up happening, these apartment complexes, they had like garages, right? Mm-hmm. And so he was telling me, he's like, yeah, I was working there a few years ago. And I'm like I said, I'm sorry it took a month to get back to you, but I've been extremely busy, and that's not no excuse. I know, Darren, you're listening tonight. Shout out to you. What happened to you? What happened to him was very incredible. The guard... They were doing 24 hours. Isn't how we do the 24 hours on the weekend? Yeah. The guard during the day told him, he says, I saw something amazing. He goes, when I relieved you in the morning, he goes, I was doing my rounds, and I see this creature about 8-9 foot tall. He's like, it was massive. And it went around the other side of the storage boxes. And it walked off into the woods. And so he says it walked off into these tree line, And he's telling him about it. He's describing it to him, and Darren was like, "Whoa, that's freaky," because he had heard noises coming from the woods around that area, and he had heard weird sounds that should not. It didn't. It was just bizarre. I'll take another one of these if you got one. So he. His head was on a swivel. So he says that night, I was in one of the units, And he goes, and I was tired, I'm not going to lie. He goes, and I know that you have a security business, and I want to tell you that I'm a slacker. He goes, but I was tired, Wolf. I was tired. And I went in there and I wanted to take a little nap, you know. He goes, like I said, he kept reminding me that I said, look, I know it happens. You're a horrible guard, Darren. I get it. You were an awful, awful person for that. But I forgive you. You know, I forgive you. It wasn't my business. That wasn't my company. I'm kidding, Darren. You know what I'm joking with you. He was a good kid. I like to joke with him. And Darren had his we talked about this. His granny had called one of these things. She had seen one when they were living in Alabama. And she called it the hang. He's African American. And so we talked about it, and he really liked the story that I told about the Rougarou or Lougarou. And so he was talking to me, and we just started talking. It was like, you know, we were just like old friends. He reminded me of one of my nephews, you know. And I could relate to his fear. He didn't have a vehicle. He got dropped off by his aunt. And so he was there inside of one of these, and he hears a trash. Like there's like this small trash bins that they use, and one of them was getting messed with. And he wakes up, and he's like, he's got one of those chairs. Funny, he's like, we got those same kind of chairs, those lounging type chairs, but they kind of lounging camping chairs.
Yeah.
And he says, yeah, I got one of those. It's an Atlanta Falcons one. He's a Falcons fan. That's one of the things, too. I was like, ugh, ugh. Anyways, we forgive you. Okay, we forgive you.
Poor guy.
Poor guy. But he walks out, and he sees this creature, and then the thing looks and stops. He goes, and it turns and looks at me. He's like, and then it kind of looked around, because that's what they do. They look around to see who's around and if you're alone. And he goes, and I said, were you armed? He says, unfortunately, no. I told him, I said, first of all, you're in Atlanta. Okay. And then he said this thing looked around. He goes, and then it just started kind of like shuffling sideways and then turned and was just standing there staring at me. And then it started coming toward me. He goes, and so I went back in the garage and I closed the garage door. And I said, tell me that you had a way to lock it. He said, no. He goes, and then I went up to the door and the door was locked to go inside the apartment. So then this thing goes over to the garage door and starts to mess with it. And then he's like, heart sinks, and he's like, I'm in trouble. This thing is at the garage door. Large Bigfoot, just basically described it as people describe.
Yeah, you can just
Bigfoot.
tear that thing right off.
And so then it just lifts the door up. At that point, he had already kicked in the door. But he's like, and now kicking in the door is not going to lock it. Of course, it's not going to stop it. Maybe it'll give him a little time or whatever. And so he goes, I run through the back of the house, and I'm already into the backyard. He goes, I thought about hiding upstairs, but then I thought it's just going to corner me upstairs. Mm-hmm. So he goes, I run through the back, and there's the poles for the fence, but they're not. The fence isn't there yet. And so they have these little backyards, it's like townhomes basically, but they're all connected. I said apartments, not really apartments, but this thing he's running through the back, and then he hears this thing is smart, right? It goes around the house because he knows where he's at, and he sees it coming across the other side of the yard to the next door yard, and he took off running, and then he tried to hide behind a clump of trees. And he's looking, and this thing is walking around looking for him. And I asked him about the eyes. I said, were they red? Because sometimes people see these red, and they're like almost like self-illuminating.
Yeah.
You know? And he says, no. No, it wasn't like that. He said they were yellowy eyes. And so, he had this weird feeling, and he told me this. He goes, I had this weird feeling that it wanted to assault me. Well, when I read his story, it didn't specify what that was. So when we talked, I said, well, yeah, I'm sure it probably did. He goes, yeah. And I said, yeah, they can be violent. And he goes, no, I don't mean like beat me up. Yeah. Just kill me and eat me. And he goes, I just felt like it wanted to do something to me.
like projecting a certain type of energy
Yeah.
towards him, you know.
So then he ran and went through the inside of the other house to try to lose it, or the other townhome, and then go out through the garage of that one. He gets to the garage door, and this thing had already ran around. Like, it was there really quick. So he's thinking there is something supernatural to this, because there's no way it could have done what it did that fast. So then he's on the other side of this property, of the next townhome over. And so what ends up happening, this thing is like out in front of it, and he goes, I could see the feet, the legs. He goes, and then this thing lifts up the garage, and he goes, and I'm sitting there, and I'm stuck. I don't know what I'm going to do. And so I have to run back up the stairs. He goes, but before I turned to run, I saw this thing, and it had like it was, like it's, was erect.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That hard thing to talk about, and I said, oh my gosh. I go, so your feelings about this being were correct. And it stood there. It didn't chase him into the house. It wouldn't, because I don't think it fit, is what it was. It couldn't get in. And so he goes, I figured out that this thing didn't really want to come inside because it wasn't pursuing me. It was going around the back and around to the front. And so he goes, at that point, I kind of wised up, and he decided to do something kind of crazy. He climbed into the cabinet. He goes, I'm not a real big dude, especially back then. I was real skinny. He's like, and so I climbed into one of the cabinets, which may have been smart, may not have been, I don't know. And so eventually he hears the back door, he hears the glass, they have these back doors, whatever, bust out, and there's like this thing rampaging through the back, and he gets into the house. And he's hiding in a cabinet. And this thing goes and starts walking around inside the house. It kind of reminded me of Joe, what happened to Joe, the Hernandez Ranch guy. Mm-hmm. If anybody's heard that story. Where the Dogman went inside the house and then he ran out through the garage or whatever. I think that's what he did. And, but that, I mean, I don't know, what would you do, Anthony? I mean.
I can't say, man. The same thing, I guess. I mean, because if you go outside, you're not going to outrun this thing.
No.
You go. I mean, like, what option do you have besides hiding? And if you're found, you better be you better be mentally prepared and trained to shout some prayers immediately and not freeze up. To shout the name of Christ. In Jesus Christ's name, I rebuke you, and you better mean it. And you better believe it, and it better be immediate, because if you're grabbed before you can do that, then it's, I don't know,
Yeah.
it's over.
Yeah. So I did ask him that too, and I was like, "Were you praying?" He goes, "Of course I was." He said he had a little silver cross. And he was just clutching it, and he goes, "I'm not gonna lie, I was crying, and I was trying to stop crying so that this thing could not hear me." Yeah, JD, that's what happened. The bullets were taken out of that guy's gun. I say that guy. We know Joe pretty well here at PRT. But, in fact, he had another encounter, I say the other day. It was like February. No, he got in touch with me in February, so it would have been January. But he saw another one. But I think that family, because of what they've been through, these things are kind of stalking them. The Dogman. But we're talking about Bigfoot. So this thing was inside the house, and he's hiding in the cabinets. And he goes, and I'm like squished in there, He's like, and I'm crying, and I'm trying not to cry. And I said, did you have a phone that you could call the police? And he goes, yeah, I did. He's like, but when I got up, I left that sitting in the pocket of the chair, of the camping chair. And he goes, and it was almost dead. So I was trying to charge it, you know. He goes, I had one of those chargers, you know, whatever. And there again, if he'd have told the police that, you know, and I said, if it ever happens again, which hopefully you pray to God that it doesn't, but I was like, don't tell the police it was a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Because people will say that and they don't come. They don't.
Yeah, you better just tell them there's an intruder in your
You
house.
tell them, you damn right. Folks, don't tell them it's a Bigfoot. Let them show up and see it for themselves, which has happened. There was somebody out in Elroy where we have a guy who's going to come on and talk about some stuff that happened to him in Elroy, but we had someone who used to use the guy that ran the taco truck. And we were talking to him about it, you know, and so there was somebody who did call the sheriff's department, and they reported a Bigfoot while they were burning their trash. So what ended up happening? Nothing. They chased them into their house. Police never showed up. When they called the police back, they were like, this is a serious a number for people who are having real problems. Gave them a lecture and told them, don't call this number again unless you have something going on. And this is a crime you're committing by false report. Well, this person is screaming on the phone, please, this thing is in my yard. And they grab one of their dogs. So the police showed up and kept trying to convince him it was a prowler. But then later, another cop showed up to follow up on him and told him, yeah, look, I've heard of this. But we just can't write it up as that. So when you're dealing with something that's not even supposed to exist, first of all, I mean, like, how do you, I mean, you go and you tell somebody, I saw a Bigfoot. Some people are like, oh, really? Interesting. And then other people, most people, you saw a Bigfoot. You're crazy. Because there's still a lot of people who don't believe in it. Mm-hmm. Hide and seek champion and all that crap. Oh, that's all right, Venture. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, YouTube does take a big chunk. They took 30% of it, just so you guys know the number. But it still helps. But use the PayPal link if you want to actually give us a serious donation. I would suggest that. But if you can't, you can do it through here. That's fine, too. So we got a lot of things we can do with that right now because I have to move. And there's a lot going on in our lives right now. And we're trying to keep it together. Let's put it that way. Without having to sell my gold. Which is, see, could happen, but I'll get it back. I will get it back. But we got things we got to do right now. We got to do the house that we're moving into. They gave us an estimate on repairs. And they said it's going to be anywhere from $35,000 to $50,000. So that we can live there. It's a fixer-upper, but it's a nice house, and it will be a great investment, and I think that it'll be good. And we're still going to continue with the build and while we're doing that, and then we're going to do something with it, you know. My goal, my plan is to, I don't care what anybody says, people can make jokes or whatever, keep running the business, but this will eventually become my life because I can dedicate and donate more of my time to doing this and writing these books because I don't have time to do it all right now. And to eventually move into another form of business. And then this will become something that I can dedicate more time to because there are multiple subjects here that need to be explored and people they're not doing it. And I'm going to say something, and it's going to sound incendiary to the rest of the community, but shame on you. Because in one of you, and you know who you are, I talked to you, and I know you lied to me. You lied to me. You probably wait a couple weeks, and he'll pop off. Watch, you'll see. And you know what you did, and you knew that this happened to these people. And you said you never heard of it. And if you did, you wouldn't talk about it. That's what you said. And two of these people, they came to you, and you did not want to discuss it with them. Why is that? I'm not saying your name right now. I don't need the drama. I don't need the trouble. But just know that I do know. So in case you get any ideas, smart mouth. Okay? You know who you are. I hate to even throw that out there, but then shows you what the level is. Okay? It's a business for you. That's what it is. This is not my business. But you get the level that these people are on. No, I'm not going to talk about that, because even though it might help people, it's unpopular. It's going to turn people away, and it's not the narrative that I've helped to build and cement. That cement that they've put on this is our tomb. They have cemented it. Everything all right? Yeah. We got work. We got to constantly looking at my phone because it's work, and it's gotten worse with Marty being out. It's just hectic. So what ends up happening? We end up with this situation where we're not even supposed to talk about something that is happening. And in fact, two people, one who fancies himself a researcher and another one who's just a crazy lady, as far as I'm concerned, have told me that I needed to stop. Because I'm making the Bigfoot look bad. Now, I have gotten reports of Bigfoot doing a kindness, actually chasing other Bigfoot away from doing this, which I think was what would have happened, or hurting or killing people. But you got to understand something. They're chasing off others from doing that. That means that that's happening, and they're trying to stop it. Just like there's good and bad in everybody, you know what I mean, in all peoples. But when you're having to be protected by one of their species from that happening, what do you think is going on? Two Shadows, thank you for that donation. So what are we supposed to say? What are we supposed to do? Just put our fingers in our ears, la, 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 la. It's not happening. And guess what, folks? I will be the first one. I will step up and say, yes, I've had these stories and I didn't tell them. And I felt like I was going around it. And it was, I'll just come out and say it. It was cowardly of me. I should have said it, but none of the other people are doing it either. So here I am again, putting my head in the noose so these people can lynch me. And they're going to say everything in the book. They're going to say he is a crazy, deranged, lunatic, Jerry Jones, Jim Jones, Alex Jones. Everything in the book. They're going to say it. So this guy, he's hiding out in a cabinet underneath these cabinets. And this thing is walking around, and it ends up moving around, and then it leaves. And he thought it was like sniffing the air to see if it could smell him. And so he's like, I just sat there. He goes, well, what must have been hours. He's like, and then I would open the cabinet just slightly and look. He goes, and then as daylight began to come, I opened it, I could see the sun was rising. So I knew it had to be close to getting time. And then I heard a vehicle, and I heard the other guard kind of yelling my name because he must have found my stuff. He goes, so then I came out, and I looked, there was nothing there, and I ran outside. I told the guy what happened. And that guy was like, whoa, really? He goes, yeah, the thing that, because they were relieving each other. And he said, so the thing that you saw came back at night, or it was still here. He's like, and then I had to deal with it. He told him the story. The guy believed him because he saw it. Now, I haven't spoken to that guy, and I don't really need to get, But I told him I would like to talk to the guy, whatever. He messaged me. I don't know him, but he did say, he says, yeah, I've worked with him, and this, I saw this. Gave me a description, same thing he saw. It was a black, hairy creature, a protruding brow line, and it just had hair all over its face, except for right in here. Looked kind of like a troglodyte throwback, but just big and monstrous and huge with humongous feet. Like it's called Bigfoot for a reason. Big hands. And so this thing did what it did. It was trying to, and he said himself, he said, I think that this thing would have essayed me. That's not the words he used, but yeah. I agree. That's what it was going to do. And now, like I said, I already see it now. I'm going to be just trolled to the ends of the earth. God damn it. And I don't care. I mean, I do because I don't want them messing with people I care about. You know what I mean? For me, personally, if it's me, and just me, I don't give a shit. Do what you got to do. Y'all been doing it for months without end. They take little breaks and let the other ones keep going, and then they'll stop a little bit, and then the other ones will pick up the slack. If you notice how they do it in like shifts. Like it's, your turn, and they hate you so bad, and they team up with others that hate you so bad. Nothing in common, they claim. They don't even believe like the same, but they are united in their hatred for me. Why do you hate him? Well, we're defending women. He attacked a woman. Really? Because that woman's his friend, and they're like, always hanging out. Well, yeah, but she's just she's confused. She just needs a little time to join us and realize that he must die. Or whatever ridiculousness they come up with. But what about these other people? They're atheists. They don't even believe like you. Yeah, but they're good atheists. They're fundamentalist Christian atheists. That's why we're able to get along. Well, this other guy's Catholic, though, and you claim you hate Catholics. Yeah, but he's a good Catholic fundamentalist atheist Christian. Anything they can do, the absolute mental gymnastics to make it fit. Make it work.
Because they're not even for anything. They're just against you.
Yeah. Citizens United against, it's like the former president. They hate him, but they don't even know.
Yeah.
They're like, well, what about the current president? Oh, well, let's not talk about him. We don't like him either, but he's not the other guy that said mean things, so we hate that guy.
Yeah.
And one of these people who's been calling me that, too. She's the only one in that group. She's not a fan of the former president, so she calls me that. And the other ones are kind of like, oh shoot, that doesn't jive with what we believe. Then why are you on the same team? Doesn't make any sense, does it? As long as you have the coalition of the willing against Wolf. And there again, because I'm standing in the way of your objective, which is always to hurt people. It's the truth. You wanted to hurt my nephew. You wanted to hurt Maddie. You wanted to hurt these people, and now you can't because Big Bad Wolf is there.
Yeah, you definitely stand in between good people and a lot of people who want to just... You're a bulwark, put it that way.
And if they could just... And they beg and plead, just help us remove him. Help us get rid of him. Yeah, Coalition Against Wolf. The CAW. There you go, Excalibur. You hit the nail on the head. So, and they one of them, and I'm not even talking about the roofer. It was another one. Mm-hmm. He called this lady up, and this is funny actually. He told her, he says, "You got to understand something. If we could work together and just get rid of him, think about what the community would be like." And she said, and I'm so proud of her, this woman's 78 years old, and she told him, she's like, "It would be horrible." Well, tell me how. And she's like, because you and your friends would do all kinds of stuff. And there would be nobody to stand up against you or to stop you. Goodbye. And she's like, I hung up on him. Then a tirade of garbage came at her. They all dogpile, you know. This is 70 or 77. Now she's 78-year-old woman. And y'all don't care. You don't give a damn about ghosts or Bigfoot or alien abduction. You don't care about any of this. All you care about is what you want to do and what your goals are and who's paying you, because somebody's paying, because half of you don't freaking work. You're fake frauds as the day is long, and you won't tackle the subjects that I tackle. You mocked me and you tormented me over the vampire and the werewolf thing, because what happened, folks? I said these things are real. It's happening. It's really happening. It is really happening. And these people who claim to be profess belief in the Bible, you're using the Bible to say that it's not, but yet you also say, well, Bible's always correct. Well, then reread it then. What it says about the beasts of the earth. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think that this is a joke? I said it in my book. That's not a plug for the book. I'll go read it. Don't read it. I don't do what you got to do. But you got to understand something, man. These people that come to us and say, this is what happened to me, can you tell my story? I'm not going to stop. Today, I had to do something that was very difficult. Do you think this is fun for me? No, this part of this job is not fun for me. And I say job because it is my job to tell these encounters, and I'm not going to stop. And I'm going to continue to bring people on, and they're going to tell encounters, and I'm going to tell encounters. And guess what? It may not always be fun, but sometimes we need to hear things. And if you want to grasp and understand what's going on, you need the whole story. You can't just pick and choose.
Yeah.
Cherry pick. Yeah, that's nice. Let's do that. But sometimes there's things that need to be said.
I mean, these people need a voice too.
It takes a lot for a guy to be able to come forward and say that it nearly happened to him or it did happen to him.
Yeah. It's like they're the unheard, or the voiceless amongst the voiceless. Mm-hmm. You know, the helpless amongst the helpless. There's just no. I can't think of anything more. What's the word? Isolating or alienating, whatever. You're just like. You're already part of a niche group who gets ridiculed and mocked and parodied, but then amongst that group, people within that group ridicule and mock and parody you. Or at best, they don't believe you. So someone has to step up and say, you know what, enough is enough. These people need a voice. I mean, they've experienced the most horrible thing you can imagine. So that's what this is. And nobody's going to like it, but it's here, you know? It's happening.
And my wife, thank her, because she said, you need to do this. And I told her this morning, I had a different show planned. And she's like, you need to tell this guy's story. And I was like, in the context of this is happening. I don't know. I believe him. And Nellie was like, you need to do the right thing. So I said, let me sleep on it. Let me get my 4 hours of sleep and I'll wake up and see where I'm at. So we did. Here we are. I'm going to say something, and this may sound ridiculous to you if you don't really know how life is for me, but I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'm under so much stress. I'm under so much pressure right now from my job, from the show, trying to get things done. I got 2 months to get into this house and get it remodeled and moved in and lived in. I mean, enough to. Oh, he got away. God, I don't know. He got away, but if you didn't hear the end there, he ran out and the other guard was there, and then he got his Uber and got out of there. But he didn't go back to that site. I don't blame him. And the company said, well, we don't have anything else for you right now. I said, well, goodbye. I would have. If that happened to one of my people on our job site, I would not have a problem with them leaving. Oh, I'd love to go to Port Aransas for a day or two. I got friends that own stuff down there. You know, I got a lot of friends down there, but I just, you know, my friend DJ's over there in Corpus too. DJ Yogi, good guy, and then of course Tommy, you know, owns Treasure Island down there. Great guy. Got some other friends that live down there. I know people everywhere. Yeah. Anthony's like, any city we go to, Wolf has friends there. Yeah. I have friends there. Why? Because I'm not a bad guy. I've had the same friends for 2 decades, 3 decades. If I'm such a bad guy, why am I still good friends with the guy that I saw the Dogman with? They're like, somebody made a thing on I'm not even going to say the name of it, some stupid thing online, and they were like, oh, he's fighting with his friend Barton or whatever. That they were trying to say we were at war or something, which is crap. I didn't know we were at war. And they said, fresh out of Friends, you know. B word, please. I am not out of Friends. If I lost one friend every day until Christ returns, I would still have friends. You think you're going to make me balk and go, oh, I'm out of friends. What am I going to do? If I wanted to take advantage of friends, I could have a lot more than I have. Because I've been offered a lot from friends. But you know what? I choose to believe that you put in a hard day's work, you get a good day's pay. My guys bust their ass, I pay them well. Guys and gals. I got several guys who work for me too. And I have people of every stripe, every ethnicity, every religion, and every sexual orientation. And it's just the way it is. I don't care about that stuff. I don't ask them any of their whatever. I don't give a crap. Do I sometimes say things that sound outlandish, you know? Yeah. And on Rumble, do I cuss? Hell yeah, I did. And I don't even cuss that much in my regular life. Nellie said that too. She was like, you cussed way too much. I was like, yeah, I know I did. But I'm a cusser, but not typically, you know, I don't typically do that. But I was pissed last night. I was just in a pissy mood from something that had happened earlier. And I'm really sick of people's crap. Really sick of it. Not you guys, but it's, you know, you guys are my family. But these people that are just, I mean, like, it's, Lolo says, I think you're on a mission. Yes, but my enemies are too, which is, I mean, obviously their mission is to get smacked into the sun. Is that what you're doing? I don't know. Is that where you want to end up? Because you're rocketing toward failure, but you don't stop. And I just keep pushing toward the Capitol, and you keep throwing all your units in there to try to stop me. You're doing minor damage. Not stopping. Because the mission is to get the knowledge to you. And they're trying to stop it. Why? They are so hell-bent on this. They can't even answer that. I mean, I have some friends that still talk to some of these people, and they can't give them a good reason. Night, Venture. I'll see you. Come up with a good reason. Figure out why it is that you're doing what you're doing, because I think it's demonically influenced at this point.
Yeah, it's not a person, it's a spirit. Or a legion of spirits.
It's ridiculous. No, Michael, because it's not my job. He says, I'm glad that Josh doesn't discriminate towards race, gender, sexual orientation. It's not my job. That is not my job to judge people. I'm going to call a spade, you know, and I'm going to call a crook, and a good person, a good person. I'm not here to judge. There was a story I'm going to tell you. I was talking to a woman, and she was on my property. She was a prostitute. She was a lady of the night. And no, I didn't do anything with her because I don't mess around with that kind of stuff. And I had a partner, and he worked for me. But not for very long, because he was always talking bad about everybody around there, you know. And I said, dude, you're talking about these people. It's government housing. I said, what happened if you were out in the street? I wouldn't do it. You're going to be homeless? You and your family? So you talk about these people like they're not a part of the human race. I was like, and they are. And he goes, well, that woman, she does this, she does that, blah, blah, blah. I said, dude, we are not here to judge who she is or what she does. And I was talking to her. She was giving me a story. Mm-hmm. And it was an apartment that she used to live there. You know, well, she lived there still, but there was an apartment she used to live in that was haunted. And she admitted to me when she would smoke rock, basically, she would see these things more clearly. Now, the people that were living there currently were basically verifying what she had said. They saw the same thing. This was a family. They were sober. It was a Hispanic family. And the guy that lived there, he was telling me he couldn't sleep because of what he was seeing in that apartment. She said, though, when she would do the drugs, that she could see it like right there.
Yeah.
And she thought I thought I was hallucinating. At the time, she was trying to get off of drugs, and she was, from what I saw, she was doing pretty good. She was still doing the world's oldest profession, and it's just the truth. That's just a fact. That's what, you know, people do. And I'm not here to judge her. But she was telling me what she saw, these demonic-looking entities. And this guy's over here going like, oh, I don't believe any of that. I had to work with him for a few days. So I finally switched him out, and I said, look, I don't think this is going to, you don't jibe with me. You know, he's like, why? Because I don't want to be nice to these people? Yeah, pretty much, yeah. He's like, well, we're not here to be nice. Yeah, I know. But you can get more with honey than you do shit. So you can be nice but assertive up to a degree until you have to be aggressive. This guy wanted to be, he's one of those wannabe cops. You want to be a cop, go be a cop. Why are you doing security? Because it's obviously not your thing, man. Your thing was you wanted to beat up somebody and do things. You know who I'm talking about, too. Mm-hmm. And he said, I just like to F around.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing? You're going to F around? And that place we were working at together, he wanted to go out and mess with people. You know, act like he's a cop or something.
Yep.
I said, we're not police, dude. Okay? Now, with the police being defunded, they've made us into some kind of pseudo whatever. And in fact, they'll be like, well, tell the security. Yeah, great. Tell us, let us deal with let us do your job. We don't have enough on our plate already. Let's do your job. No. When we call, it's you, because if we do something that you don't like, then you're going to try and arrest us. And that's not going to happen. So this guy was a liability. And I said, look, man, I'll put you somewhere else. No, I don't want to do that. Because he wanted to walk around with a gun. His gun is my identity. You know, and it's like, ridiculous guy ends up jumping a fence because he didn't want to knife.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? Because he had to have his gun. Well, if you don't go around starting a bunch of shit, you probably wouldn't have to have that on you all the damn time. Goofy ass. I could see why. I mean, he's one of those people that have the fat belly and the skinny arms. They don't want to work out because, guess what? I got this. I got this right here. This here's stop anything.
Yeah, I don't respect people
It's like, yeah, dude.
whose immediate form of self-defense is a gun.
And then he made fun of me. He goes, I was like, I'm going to be a little bit late. I'll be about 10 minutes, And he goes, oh, again? Like, who gives a shit, okay? You work for me. Just do what you got to do. I'm 10 minutes late. Who cares? I'm at the gym. I show up. He goes, all that weightlifting, man, ain't going to mean nothing. I'm like, why? So I'm lifting weights for what? So, what are you talking about? It's for my health. You don't need to do all that. Just get you a gun. I said, we have them. I just don't pull mine out all the time because I don't have the retardation. So I can only handle it 5 days with this guy, and it was done. And we are not friends. And he works at this other place, and he made a big old lie up about me and said that I went into a game room and got beat up. And I'm like, I don't even go into. What are you talking about, dude?
Yeah.
And he was telling somebody, he won't beat me up. Well, of course not. You're always running away and get a gun. You talk a bunch of trash, and then you go all over town talking trash. But who cares? He's judging me like these Pharisees. He tells everybody that I was friendly with crack dealers and prostitutes and drug addicts. I said, dude, I wasn't handing out awards. I wasn't up there on the podium. I'm having an award show. It's the Amazing Crack Giveaway. You know? I'll use this as the microphone.
Crack extravaganza.
I see you over there. You've been doing a lot of work, young Missy. How long you been a prostitute? Hand it to her. I've been a prostitute for approximately 5 years, but I have had a lot of... Okay, we're good. We're not going to get into the details of what you do. Who's next? Oh, look, I see you, pimp. My boy Harvey. Come on, Harvey, up here. Come on. Yeah, man, it's pimping ain't easy. As Big Daddy Kane said, and Wolf, you know this, it's hard. It's hard work. You gotta use the gentle, but you still gotta do the smack, and you gotta, but I'll bust it. All right, we're good. We need to go into details about what you do too, Harvey. And you, I know you want to be anonymous. You got the COVID mask on, right? Come on up here. Tell everybody what it's like. Come on, Shug. Tell what it's like to stack those G's with that big money, with the powder. I rock it up, brick solid, you know what I'm saying? F the checkbook, I got a wallet. Don't mess with me, I'll kill you, G. I'm the hardest mother effer you'll ever see. Okay, all right, we're good. Thank you for that, Shug. All right. So anyways, folks, we're having a celebration of sin and evil, and I'm up here just like, hey, we captured a virgin that we're going to sacrifice to... Who are you guys into? They're like, Baal, yeah, that guy. We got a virgin, pure as snow. Let's get set, and here we go. I mean, this guy acts like I was out there doing that. Yeah. I wasn't emceeing the perversions and the evil, dude. I mean, I would be remiss if I was to do that. Seriously. I'm not doing that. But that's what these people act like. And who are you to judge? That's why you don't work with us anymore. Did I get into some altercations? Yeah, you damn right I did. Did I relish in doing it? No, I didn't. Paul Press says no stories tonight. You must be late.
Day late and a dollar short, my friend.
No stories tonight. Come on, Paul. You know better than that.
Like that robot from Ice Pirates. Showed up after everything's done. Starts doing a little something.
Don't be insulting. You don't know. He might have just missed it. He might have missed it. Bernard, so it's hard out here for a pimp when he's trying to get money for the rent for the Cadillacs, gas money spent because a whole life of trolls talking shit. He's a poet. You're a poet. Yeah, there used to be a guy downtown. I used to call him the poet. And this guy, you could give him like $10, $5, whatever, and he would just start freestyling rap. And this guy, he was a crackhead. He was. And he could just rattle off a rhyme. At night, he'd come find me, and I'd be walking out of the club, and I'd say, "Hey, poet, bust a rhyme." And he would just start rhyming, rapping. The guy was amazing.
Yeah.
And I said, "Man, you have an ability." And he admitted to me one day, he was just sitting on the stoop and he was just looking all dejected. And I came out with Willie and Squid and D, Scorpion. I said, what's going on, poet? He goes, I just been thinking, And I was like, thinking about what? He goes, I'm just a crackhead, He called himself the N-word, And I said, dude, don't do that. You're a human being. And he looked up at me, and at that point right there, he said this in front of the guys, and you know them all. And he said, you're the only one that treats me like a human being. He'd sit in the back, and I gave him a job, and for 2 hours, he would take the trash out for us. And I didn't have to give him a job, but he needed a job. Thank you, Rita, for that donation. Incredibly generous always. Thank you. But he needed a job. He needed something in his life to give him some purpose. And he said, you're the only one that's ever nice to me. My aunt was a drug addict, and she died. And this might get a little emotional, but I'm going to tell you something. She had the eyes, we say in Spanish, like ojo de toro. She could see things, ghosts. She had an ability, but it messed her up at a young age. She couldn't handle it. And she died. I liked her a lot. We were very close. She stayed with us, and my mother was always very hard on her because she wanted her to do better. But she was kinder to me than my own mother, oftentimes. I remember her making me a Halloween costume, ironically a vampire costume, and I ended up winning a prize at my school, a big old bag of candy. I remember that, a very fond memory. And we ate the candy together. She was diabetic. She wasn't supposed to be eating it. She was a sweet person to me. She had her flaws. She was a drug addict. Yeah. And people in the family would talk about her behind her back all the time. It's real easy to sit there and judge when you're on your high horse. And when she died, nobody in the family wanted to help pay for a burial. I didn't have money at that time. I was trying to get out of the life that I was in, and I was working at a plant. And they ended up cremating her and having a service. And I didn't think it was correct. I thought that she should have had more than she did. But they were like, she squandered her life. I get it. Yeah, I get it. But she never judged me. I never judged her. She was a very streetwise individual who gave me a lot of pointers, and one of which I think saved my life one time. And she believed in all this. And in fact, in my life, I'll never forget, she told me before, she told me, Mijo, the X-Files is real.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, I remember her watching that all the time.
And she said that this is real. She's like, this stuff really happens. And I thought it was like my great aunt. Her would have been her aunt, Theohova, who was always like the luchadors she would watch on the Mexican television. The priest that would come out and she would be like, don't hit him. He's a man of God. You're going to go to hell. And I'd be like, Thea, pro wrestling is not real. Oh, yes. Hulk Hogan? Yes, he's a bad man. Yes. I'm like, no. Yes. I'd be like, no, they're not. It's not real. She goes, they don't want to hit each other too hard because they feel bad, but they have to fight for real. I said, I don't think that's correct. But I just let her have her belief, her little fantasy that it was real. Everybody else would mock her, make fun of her. I didn't do that. I didn't do that with my aunt either. We didn't always agree. But, let them have what they want to believe. Well, whatever. But she told me, she says, vampires ghosts. It's real. She said she had been to Mexico many times and seen real magic. People putting brujeria on people. Real things. And she didn't like it. She didn't like it. And she had a natural ability. She didn't need to use magic. It was a natural thing. And she told me, she's like, Mijo, you have that in you. She's like, in all the family, she's like, you're the one with the, you have the eye. You see it. You've done like me and try to block it out. She says, if you do it enough, it'll make you local. She's like, and you're always in your sesos, your brain. She's like, don't think too much. Just do. She's like, there's a ability that's given to you by God. Don't abuse it. Don't use it against people. Don't use it for bad. Always use the white light. When somebody's giving you a hard time, put the white light on them. Because that will burn the evil from them. That's what she said. And if that evil comes off of them, then you're, that person has a chance to be redeemed. Right? And Head Trip says about judging, Jesus said not to let the dust collect on your feet if you're in a place you were not welcome. He means move the heck on. That's a lesson for the people that are after us doing all this crazy stuff that they're doing. Just move on. You're not welcome here. We don't want you here. We don't want to be a part of whatever it is that you want to be a part of. You don't like the things that we say and the things that we do, then move on. Go away. Right? And nobody got them here. You're choosing, and they're angry because the show, I'm not doing whatever it is that they want me to do and say on the show. Well, newsflash, that'll never happen. Never. I'm never going to do what you want. It's not going to happen. And you have no right to the show that I built. And then one of them, he goes around and says he's did all this crazy stuff for the show. Like, no, you didn't.
Yeah.
One person even thought that the other guy, the one that made the hit channel where he assassinates people's character, he thought that guy was he does what you do. He thought that he was because he's going around telling everybody that he's the tech guy. He did all this technological. No, he didn't.
Never be like me, boy.
You didn't do anything. You couldn't do any of this stuff we do. He made memes, which were just as likely to attack me as the other people because of jealousy. So get over it. Go on. Move on. You're done. We're done. But you can't. It's like you're stuck. It's sad. Because if you and your friends and your people, whatever, would just go, take your people and go. Do what you got to do. Go make your own channel. Then do something with it. Besides just attack people and say the most outlandish things you can come up with. But it's unfortunate that people are doing these kind of things and they continue to do these kind of things and you just are sitting there going like, what is wrong with these people? But there is real evil in this world, folks. It is happening. It has been happening. It's been going on for a long time. And what are we supposed to do about it? Well, first of all, we can stop ostracizing people because they tell a story that doesn't fit your narrative. Ma'am Blackius, what says, would you tell me where some of the fog places if I paid you $10,000? What? Fog places? What does that mean?
I'm not sure what they mean by that.
Are you a troll? So what we have, though, is people who aren't going to change, and I'm not going to try and change them. Nothing you can do. But I think people's stories need to be told. Here's a story. Here's one that I got, if you want to hear it. It's about a Dogman. Dogman places. Sure, why not? Why would I care? I'll tell you the ones where you won't get shot. I'll tell you where there's some that are or you won't be going on a private property. I mean, but I'll do that. That's whatever. I mean, I don't know where the $10,000 comes in. I mean, why do you want to give me $10,000? Are you just that desperate, or you just want to help the show, or what do you want to do? But anyways, like I was saying, if you stop and you look at this, at these cases, I could have easily just kept ignoring it. And I was advised to do that. Now, here's the thing, man blackiest, whatever. If you go there and you don't see one, that's not my fault. I can't tell you. Mickey G says I could use it. I said, sure, we all could. I mean, I got to do a bunch of remodeling. Right? Yeah, I could use the money too. But I don't know what's going to happen with that, because I don't want you going somewhere that's going to be, we are going to be doing an investigation in a restaurant and then one out in Cistern pretty soon, right? The Bigfoot one? Yeah. Bigfoot's now been seen out there 3 times. And I need to figure it out, because I need to go out there soon and get it done. Or I need to go, because I'm moving, but I need to do this even though we have all this other stuff going on. Who is going to the Bama Bigfoot conference? Not me, because some of the crazy people will be there. Would I like to go to the Alabama Bigfoot conference? Yes, but I don't have the time. And if I did, I still couldn't go, because the crazy roofer will be out there, and I can't take a chance on him, the things that he has said. Werewolf says, send me the 10,000 and I'll send you the location. I still, even with 10 grand, I wouldn't send you to some of the places because it's private property. So if that's what you're looking for, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, and if you're willing to pay that kind of money just for some locations, you're not up to anything good.
Yeah. Jared, Wolf, have you guys ever considered going to CryptidCon? No. I have considered going to a lot of conferences. I have considered going on lots of different shows. But there's this thing called time. And I don't even have time to go and get my syndication done, because I can't like, tomorrow is Monday. I got to go to 3 different places and try to collect money that people owe us for the business. So I don't know where I don't have time. I don't. One place owes us, they did owe us 40 grand. They owe us, I think they owe us like $31,000. So what they'll do is they'll pay you a little bit of it, and then you just keep doing the service, and they just pay you a little bit of it until you finally say, to hell with this. You pay me, and then we'll go back to work. So that's what's going to happen tomorrow. So I have to do that, because my business partner he has pneumonia. So let's just be honest. I mean, where is the future? Me taking on more responsibility, which means I will be able to do the show less, because I don't make enough money to do the show, to do it full time. That's not me trying to get money. That's me being honest. Every time I'm honest with people, they don't like it. People like to be flattered, and they like to be lied to. They do. I did the show on Rumble last night. I was on there with Daniel Jones and Chris James and Rob Yox at one point. Then Rob Yox got off. And then Chris James got off, and me and Daniel Jones stayed on there. And we did 5 hours. Was it 5 hours?
Yeah, it was 5 hours.
And guess what? I made like $40. And then Rumble takes their cut, which is 10% less than YouTube. So if I'm doing it for the money, what's the point? Why would I stay on there that long? I would just dip out. Be like, hey, I'm here. I'm not making enough money. I'm out. Bye. I don't have 1,000 subs on Rumble. But yet I can get 600 people in a chat. So that doesn't make any sense. Come on now. Please go subscribe. Help me out. Give me some subs there, please. 35,002 or 300 or whatever it is on YouTube. So there you go. But I'm committed to doing Saturdays on Rumble because I can say what I want to say and say what I need to say and say what has to be said. Because a lot of stupid ass people out there need to be called out on their bullshit. Yeah. But here we are, where we have these situations where people are being essayed by Bigfoot, and the enemies of this show are going to jump up and down and have a field day and make a big mockery of it and attack me, and I'll bear the brunt of it. That's not me patting myself on the back or tooting my own horn. You know why? Because like Anthony said, I'm built for this shit. Because I don't give a F. Bring it on. Do what you got to do. Like Doc Holliday said in Tombstone, Val Kilmer's immortalized Doc Holliday, you're a daisy if you do. Go ahead. That's just my game. Go ahead. You know? I have two hands, one for each of you. I love these little hands. I was born with tiny hands in a one-room shack in Mississippi.
Let me see him. I wonder if I can pull it off with his
Can't
shirt.
show my hands now. Anthony's got them. Now I'm handless.
No, hang on.
That is not going to work. I'm going to tell you a story here. There was a story that we got from the woman in Arkansas who had that incident, whatever. Let me put it on the camera on you.
Why?
That's good.
Okay. Click it back over to you.
Hang on to them. You might need them. Those were fun. Those are fun. Prom Nelly bought those. It's the retardation. Yes, Jamie, it is. It is the retardation. Yeah, Modoc. Yeah, Modoc would be that. So, you know, what's funny is that these people think that they're doing something. They're not. And it's not helping their channels grow. So what we do is we talk about these things that people don't want to talk about. Now, here's the Dogman story for you, and I'll throw this one in there. This girl tells me when she was in her early 20s, she was living in a big house with two other girls. And as 20-somethings will do, they suck with money. But that's because they're young, and And so they're like, they didn't go to work, they partied and drank and hung out, and they were in college. So they rented a house. The original person that had the house, she left after the first week that she was there. And so she says, I'll be leaving, but there's two other girls who live in here. Y'all can afford to pay it, whatever. And she gave them a free month. Bye. Didn't say the reason that she left was because the room that she was in, she was having weird things happen at night. So Melissa, the woman that gave me this story, she says, look, I was in this dorm. I mean, basically, I was at the college and I was living in a dorm. So I moved to go live in this house with these other girls. Her friend Lucinda had told her, come, let's go, it's nice, whatever, let's go live there. And then her friend backed out at the last second. So there were supposed to be 5 of them, and it was a 5-bedroom house. It was big. It was a big house. She said it was 4,800 square feet. That's a big house. And she said, so, for 3 girls, so she says, it was old Victorian style house. And so I think it was like in Maryland. So anyway, she goes and she lives in this house. And she says that when they were staying there, She said that she would hear noises and voices and things all the time. Different, just weird stuff. Always hearing things, always seeing things, shadows, things like that. And she's like, there was this chest in the room that her friend that had gotten her to move there or whatever, that was the room that the girl who had left. And the other girl backed out. The friend that was going to live there with her, she backed out. She didn't know the other two, so she ended up living in a house with two girls she really didn't know. And one of them was never there, but the other one was always there, and she never worked. And then when Mommy and Daddy cut her off, well, guess what? We have a problem. So she said, look, I'm in this house, and so it's like, and I moved in, and then it was like I'm working all the time and going to school and trying to help make rent. And the girls that I was with were never able to make the rent. She goes, but my dad, she's like, I'm not going to lie, I was Daddy's girl, and he helped me and helped pay our rent and everything. She's like, and then I go into that room one day, and I said, this room is nice. It's bigger. It's got a better view. And she's like, I want to take this room. Had its own balcony. She really liked that. So she moved across the hall into that room. Like, what does it matter? And she said there was a chest in there, an old chest, a trunk. And she opened it up. And inside was just some quilts, and below that a bunch of pictures of people who were just long since gone. And she said there was one guy, though, in the picture who looked a bit odd. And she's like, I wish I had the picture to show you. I said, well, I wouldn't put it on the show anyway. She says, no, but just to show you, to give you some reference to how weird this guy looks. She's like, he had like pointy ears and this really long, weird beard, and he looked, I was like, wolfish? She said, yeah. Exactly. Then she found out that he was the guy who actually built the house. And he had built it in the 1880s. And he died in 1910, supposedly. So she said that this guy, she knew there was something wrong with this dude. You could tell by his eyes. And he was not smiling in any of the pictures. There were 3 pictures he was in. And the people his family that was around him looked terrified. And I'm like, they probably were. He probably terrorized them or something, And so she said that when she was looking through the trunk, she found this like letter opener, and it was like engraved, and it said, to my dear wife, such and such. I can't remember the lady's name. And then she said that she took it. And she started using it for her mail, and she just thought it was pretty, and she was going to keep it. She's like, I know I shouldn't have. And I just left it in the dresser next to my bed. And she said that every night after that, she started having these weird dreams. She's like, and then I wake up one day, and the dreams were of this thing, something coming up out of this trunk. She's like, but then one day I realized it wasn't a dream. She goes, it was in the middle of the day, and I was taking a few-hour nap, a few hours of sleep before I had to go to class. And she's like, and this job that I had, I was working at night. It was horrible. I was working all the time. And, and she said, I thought I was just delirious. But then she said, she wakes up and she sees this thing crawling out of that trunk. And she said that the upper body of this thing looked like, and this was her words, not mine, a man-wolf. And I said, really? Okay, so she went into a little bit of detail about what the upper body looked like. I said, she goes, now this is weird. And I said, okay, it's just the lower body? She said, yeah. And I thought, okay, backward bent legs. No. What should have been the backward bent legs of this, and she said that it was like a snake. Now, there is an actual demon whose name starts with an A, and I'll give you the first two letters, A-M. You can go look him up. It's only a 4-letter word. And that is actually what he looks like. His upper body looks like a werewolf's, but he's got the lower body of a snake. And she said that this thing came up out of the trunk and it literally slithered like a snake and went up to the bed and had its arms on the bed and was pulling itself up. And she could see this deformed looking wolf-like head on this creature. Were gnome? What? So anyways, this thing gets up onto the bed, and she said that it was always trying to grab on her legs and touch her and feel on her or whatever. And she said that it was like this thing wanted to do what we were talking about with the Bigfoot earlier. What is this? They always have to put their 2 cents in. Who is this? Oh yeah, Psych Awareness Awakens. Yeah, that's who it was. Because I gave her the name of that demon. I said, look this one up, because that's who it is. And look up what he does. And so this thing, she said, wanted to assault her. Now, she saw it around that up house a couple other times, too. You want one of those teas in there? Might help you out.
I'm going to go to the store.
I mean, you can just take one of my teas. We're going to be over in a little while. So you don't got to go all over the place. And this thing tried to, she believed, SA her. On more than one occasion. One time they had to go down to the base. They had like a basement. They had to go down there to do the laundry. The bottom floor. And when she was down there, she was doing her laundry, this thing walked in like it had legs. Now, this is when she saw the backward bent legs, like we know to be a Dogman type creature. And she said it came down the stairs and she saw the legs. And she was like, she had never seen the legs. And she was like standing there. She's like, I'm literally holding detergent in my hand. And I'm like, what the hell is that? This was no dream. And this wasn't her awakening and seeing this thing. Like she saw that one day. She's like, I was half awake, half asleep or whatever. So she said that this thing came down the stairs and it literally looked down at her and saw her. And then she kind of shook her head and thought, I'm not seeing this. And then she didn't. It was gone. But then when she was going around the stairs, something came out from underneath it. She didn't see. It was invisible, whatever it was. And it grabbed her and tried to do that to her. She screamed and screamed and screamed until the two girls that she lived with and one of them's boyfriend came to the stairs, the top of the stairs. They tried opening the door wouldn't open. The dude kicked it in, and then they ran down the stairs, and she was struggling with this, whatever it was. And she said it nearly happened. And she got away from it, and then she ran up the stairs. So I don't know what the guy's connection was. That I think that was the same guy from the pictures. It led over. She said, yeah, it was his name. And I was like, okay. Was he into something? I don't know. Is that what caused it? I don't know. But you see the connection there between these demons, the reptilians, Bigfoot, and these Dogman type creatures or whatever the hell that was. They do these things. My brother has a friend, big tall guy. I've known him for years. And he told me a very crazy story from years ago. Two of my brother's friends actually told me some stuff. I say his friends because even though I'm friends with them, I mean, I met them through him. And one of them was tubing. He was going tubing, and he was off in the other side of Braunfels. They're green. And he said that when he was there, going down it's the Guadalupe, right? Mm-hmm. He's going down the Guadalupe, and his inner tube tumped over, like, whatever. I say tumped. It's a weird word. I don't know if that's not even a word, is it? I don't know. I say tumped.
I mean, I think it's like a southern
I say
colloquialism.
My grandparents said tumped over. It tumped over.
I mean, I've been saying that for as long as I can remember. I don't think it's an actual word, though. We just say it down here.
We say yontu.
Yeah. Jeet?
Jeet. Yontu is another one,
Mm-hmm.
But so what happens is this he falls off the inner tube and something hairy, ape-like came up out of the water, and he's like, I don't think that this thing was a monkey person, a gorilla that swam into the water and did. Just stayed under the water like that for a long time, which was really weird that this thing had been in the water. He goes, I didn't see it. He goes, but it had to have been there for a while. Holding his breath longer than humanly possible. And so it came up, and when it did, it grabbed him by his privates. Like, it grabbed him. And he asked me about that. He was like, have you ever heard of anything like this? And when he told me this was years ago, and at that point I said no. Because this was years before the SA stuff was talked about with our first co-host. So I think that this stuff's been around for a long time, but I can't tell you that I know, Hold on 1 second. Work.
Yeah, we've had about 3 noise complaints already that I've had to step out and deal with.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Which ones? Well, don't say the names, but see if you can send.
Yeah, I did. He's on top of it.
Let him do it, because he's doing the patrol right now for us.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening? This a guy was grabbed down there, and he said that it was a female-looking creature. He said that it had bugged-out eyes, and the face was all white and grayish-looking, but everything else was hairy. And it was like a hairy creature, but it was wet because he came up out of the water, or it did. And at least, it was a female, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if that helps or whatever, but it's just either way, it would be, I don't know, it's a horrible thing. But he said that he got loose from it, and it just kind of went off, and went down into the water again. He looked around, didn't see it. He's like, but then I was scared to come up out of the water because I thought, what if this thing just comes out of the water and grabs me? And he goes, but then I was scared to stay in the water. But he goes, the water was flowing pretty quickly at that point, and he got up on his inner tube and was down. And he said it was a very uncomfortable ride from there. Also, recently they pulled a bull shark out of that river. You'd think I'm kidding. There's a video of it. They caught a bull shark in there, and it was a young one, which means that it was probably given birth. Yeah. A bull shark went upstream and gave birth. Because those of you who think that these lakes in Texas are safe, there's only one that's actually a lake. The rest of them are just dammed up rivers. Lake Travis is the Colorado River dammed up.
Yeah.
So when you're swimming around in the lake, it could be an apex predator in there known as a bull shark. They live in fresh water. So good luck with that. Good luck with the swimming and the inner tubing. We've also had an alligator pulled out of there. I think it was like in the 60s when my mother was working. There was somebody who had told me years ago, it was 30 years ago, when they told me this, and they said that he had worked on the dam, Mansfield Dam, and that they had caught a bull shark at the base of it.
Yeah, I've never been one for swimming in a river.
Yeah. So, if you want to go out and be eaten by a apex predator, go ahead.
I mean, this alligator gar here in Texas, too.
The alligator gars will tear you apart, too. Mm-hmm. I was reading about a woman who got just absolutely tore up by an alligator gar. It took her bottom of her leg off. It took her leg off. I just read that, a few days ago. So, Well, Greenland sharks, yeah, but Greenland shark, you lived forever too. Greenland sharks live to be hundreds of years old.
Yeah.
But the Greenland shark isn't down here. They live up in the cold water. This thing that did what it did to him, you know, and I found his story in its entirety when I was going through. I didn't know I had a file for this, but I had Bigfoot. I named it Bigfoot Being Naughty because I didn't even know. I don't even remember naming it that, unless you did. I don't think it was probably me
so.
at some point. I did it, but you know. So anyway, well, don't change your mind about moving south. Heck, the one thing that happened to that lady that was in Maryland. But after that last incident, when that thing grabbed her in the basement, she moved. Mm-hmm. She left, and didn't follow her, thank God. And she left the letter opener. I would have too. Yeah, snappers though too. Snapping turtles can be horrible because they can literally take your fingers, toes, and other things off.
I don't want to be anywhere near a snapping turtle. Their necks extend like so far and so fast.
So quick, yeah. And so this situation, like he just, it happened and then that was it. He didn't, so he told me my brother about it a long time ago, but I never had gotten back with him and I hadn't lost touch with him. And I needed to get his story in its entirety. And so I found it when I was going through the files to look for stuff for tonight's show. And I saw that and I was like, uh-oh. I remembered it and I was like, I need to tell that one too. So there's that one. Wasn't an essay, but he was grabbed by one. They do this and nobody wants to talk about it. Let's put it this way. I don't blame them. I don't want to talk about it. But nobody is willing to come forward and say, hey, this shit's happening. Mm-hmm. Let's just pretend like it doesn't. Right? So, anyways, folks, that's it for tonight. I got to run early. I got to go. We usually stay for 3 hours. I did a long show last night, but I will be on tomorrow night with... Okay, let me find out.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, Tex, I got you on live, so just so you know, I'm supposed to do a show. Is it on your show tomorrow night?
No, you're not on my show till June.
Till June. Okay, so then it's on. So then it is Danielle's show then.
Yeah, it's Danielle's show.
Okay,
I'll be on there with you though.
Okay, so we're going to be on her show tomorrow night.
Yes.
With Paul Roberts, I believe.
Yeah, Paul Roberts. Yeah.
Paul Roberts. Okay, I don't know him.
He's editor of Paranormal Daily, I think is the name of the magazine over in Europe.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, let him know he needs to get in touch with me and send me his information so that I can look it over and judge him.
Yes, sir.
I'm like, I don't know. It says here you once were a vegan. Why are you not still?
I spoke to our leader, Shade Viking.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Shade Viking is the leader of the cult. And I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought I was, but apparently I was not even in the running.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm not even sergeant of arms, so, hey.
Wow, they've totally restructured. We'll have to get together about this at our next...
It's been a coup.
At our next meeting.
Yeah, we're going to have to form a coup, I think.
Got to figure it out. Yeah, because I think BMR put in to be a lieutenant, and I said, wait, I don't even know who's who right now, all right? We got to figure this out. All right.
Oh, Lord.
All right, so I'm going to head out then. I got to wrap up this live stream, and then I'll be there tomorrow. I'll see you on Danielle's show. Just make sure she sends me a link.
Will do.
Okay. All right, Tex. Bye.
Thanks, man. Bye.
So that's Tex. I just had to call and find out what was going on because I didn't know. I thought it was on his show. So we're going to be on Danielle's show tomorrow night, and it's going to be good. I've heard good things about Paul Roberts, and then Tex is going to be there. So we're going to have fun. It's going to be good. And then Tuesday, I'm going to try and do a live stream. I got somebody that's going to come on and talk. We're going to do a few things. We're going to definitely do a live stream on Tuesday. Okay. But I'm going to cancel it real quick if I don't get a lot of money. All right. Because that's what I'm about. All right. If the first hour I don't get $200-300, I'm out. I'm done. I'm just going to stop in the middle and be like, hey, hold on. You know what? I'm out. I'm done. Make up some excuse, I got to take a dump. I'm out. So it's just, it's over. I knew he was that way.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. If he did, he'd just poop his pants. You're like, folks, I got to take a break. Oh. And I'm back. Is that how that would go?
You're just like, folks, I need a bathroom break, and then you just sit there and your face starts turning red and you're straining and
you're like, oh my gosh. What do I do in the meantime? Oh, yeah. There you go.
oh, God.
All right, folks. I'm so crazy. I do stupid things. Whatever. Got to give your haters something to hate you for, man. You got to give them something to talk about. Give them something to talk about. The life's so boring, you scream and shout. I'm just making up lyrics. I don't even know if that's how the song goes. You're so dull, I'll give you something to talk about. That's it. You got to just give them something to scream and shout. Because they hate it. They hate themselves, they hate life, and they hate you. And you know what they told me? One of them. He literally told me that. He said, if you would just go away, like you said you were going to do, there wouldn't be a problem. You remember that?
Yeah.
He told us that. He told me that. Anthony heard him. I said, oh, is that all I got to do? I just got to go F off and then we're all good?
Get right on that.
Let me go and get started on that. And then they say stupid things like, well, if you wouldn't get involved when I'm dealing with somebody, in other words, when you're hurting my friends, if I wouldn't get involved and try to stop you, then we're good. That's nice. That's cool. So let me get on that too. Let me just let you abuse my friends and family. So if you're a member, folks, here we go. We got a member giveaway. We got 3 hats we're going to give away. 3 hats. With these hats, if you remind me, and the folks are not doing what I asked. They are not sending me their information right after the show through the email. The email is right here, Josh Turner at prtpodcast.com. Send me the information. Dang you. Do it. Do it. So if you send me that information, we can get the stuff out to you because we're having to wait for people to send their information. I can't wait anymore. You got to do it or you're not going to do it, okay? So here's what we're doing. If you're in green and you've bought a membership, you are eligible for the giveaway, okay? So if you're in green, then you can, like I said, you're eligible. So let's move it over to where we just have and if you're a moderator, just send me what you want and we'll send it to you.
All right, so the chat temporarily is for members only. That way we can do the member exclusive giveaway.
Okay, so it's on here?
Yeah.
All right, so if you are a member, and yeah, Shade, I thought I was the leader, but I guess they're saying you are now. So I didn't know. I guess I'll abdicate the throne to you because I don't give a shit to be the leader, so whatever. So if you haven't won, and you're a member on here, then let us know that you have not won. So we'll start with people who haven't won. 86. You've never won 86? You've been around for a while.
He's in Australia though.
Oh, you're in Australia?
believe
Well,
so.
if 86, if you're in Australia, what we'll do is we'll send you the money to buy something from the PRT store. So that's what we'll do. We'll send you, I mean, $40 should cover the PRT store, right?
Yeah.
So we'll send you $40, and if you don't want to use it to buy a piece of of whatever, then keep the money. Okay, fine. Do what you got to do. And so 86, you're my. I pick you to be the winner. That's easy. I'll just cash app it to you, or however we can, whatever, just your form of payment, whatever. PayPal. And so Psyche Awakens. I haven't won. Debbie Cotha. Dang it, I've won. Kimberly says I've never won and lucked out on a membership tonight. And then Here Day. He says I have won, but I haven't received my book. Okay, Here Day. He was one of the people that didn't get sent his stuff, but you have his information.
Yeah, I think so. But just to be on the safe side, if you wouldn't mind Here Day, just go ahead and shoot us an email again.
Pretty sure I got
With
it
your
though, because I don't want to
info.
clutter it up. But yeah, if you have Anthony on your friends list too, send it to him too, because he's him and Tony are doing the addresses. It's just hard because we're working day and night right now. I'm not joking. We are working day and night. I have no choice. You got to step up, man. Somebody had a heart attack. You got to do what you got to do, man. So, because I can send an email, yes. And we'll hook you up, man, since you had to wait so long. I know you got... I could have swore I thought I mailed something to you before, and maybe it just didn't show up, but I could have swore I did. I just remember the name.
Oh, Amy, send us your information too.
The Josh Cutchins book.
Yeah.
We did put the stuff in the deal. What happened was you got through the Patreon, and then the lady was like, I got to go.
Yeah.
So we ended up having to not finish. With the old owners, I'm not bashing anybody, but the old owners, they wouldn't have cared. They'd just have to let us finish.
Yeah.
The new people, we're still getting to know them. So, he said 2 years ago? You must have fallen through the cracks, man. That's not how we do things here at PRT. Because you can ask people. We send the stuff. He had ordered the hoodie, and it took 4 months to receive. You guys gave me 2 hoodies. What? You guys gave me 2 hoodies. So you did get something. So I'm confused. What is it that you didn't get? Anyways, we'll talk here, Day. Let me know what's going on. If I owe you something, I'll get it to you. But okay. So who else has not won? No, 86, you're getting yours. Just send me your information. PRTpodcast.com. Josh Turner, PRTpodcast.com. Who else? Who else wants to win? Come on.
The only 2 people off the top of my head that said they haven't won are Kimberly M. and I think there's someone named Paula Campbell.
Okay. Psyche Awakens says, did I win something? Do you want to win something? My dog ate the leather keyring.
Oh, jeez.
Well, that sucks.
Well, they are tasty.
I
I mean,
hope the dog didn't hurt him.
I've tried them myself. They're not bad. They make for good snacking.
Wow. So Psyche Awakens, you win. Lolo, if you want a hoodie, send me your size, and I'll send you one. Okay? That is not a problem for the moderators. Plymouth says, nah, she's okay. She eats everything. I don't know why. They do. We have one that does that. Beans? Mm-hmm. We'll eat anything. Just chew it up and eat it. Little goofy ass. Okay, so we got one more we need to pick.
All right.
Let us know if you haven't won. Come on.
Just throw your name out there.
The
All right,
hoodie
Gwen
PRT
Hunt.
code. There it is, Gwen Hunt. Finally, somebody
There you
messaged.
go.
So Gwen, you win. So we got Gwen. We got who else? Psyche Awakens, and what was the first one?
You picked the first one.
86.
86, that's right.
So 86, Gwen, and Psyche Awakens. Send it to me now. Send it to me right now so I have it on there and I can take a screenshot of your information and get it on.
The email address is scrolling at the top of the screen.
There's the email address, Josh Turner at PRT Podcast. I keep wanting to say at the. It's Josh Turner at PRTpodcast.com. All right. Kimberly says, can we get some tank tops? Are you going to put those in the store?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, it's
we're
about time.
going to, when we get a chance, we're going to go up to our friends at Seven Clay, and we're going to have some shirts made that are camo. We're going to go with the urban street camo and the green. If those work out, we might try the naval camo too, just to see how it looks. I think it's going to be nice. I think it will. All right, folks, everybody who won, go back to the regular chat so I can say goodnight to everybody. You can see who's on there. Thank you to everybody who donated. Rita Burnett and Venture Security in particular, those two. Thank you. And everybody who gave what they could, and we appreciate it. Thank you so much to everybody. And in particular, the memberships too, is another thing. Thank you to everybody. I know you people work hard, so do I. And it shows that you appreciate us, that you really care when we do what we do. Tonight was not easy. I did not want to do this show tonight. This one, I didn't. Nellie kind of said, "Look, it needs to be said." There's other stories too that I didn't tell. I just didn't. Bigfoot does things to people's pets too. I mean, you know, it's not I don't know, man. Anyways. All right, folks, I'm going to run. I thank you for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow night when I'm on Danielle's show, and then I'll be on a live stream on Tuesday, right? And probably one on Wednesday, too. Okay? Why not? And then I'll be on Balonza Booze on Thursday, then Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't know. We'll see about Wednesday. We'll see what happens. All right, folks, I'll see you. Thanks and good night.